All right. Welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing transmission, podcast, whatever you want to call it. This is your host, Mr. BDA, and alongside with me, as always, my co-host, King Bucho. King, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Sensational. Now listen, if you want to join us, you know the drill. Go to Google Hangouts, send us an instant message via the email address on top of your screen, boxingdebate@hotmail.com. That's boxingdebate@hotmail.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I want to thank our Patreon donors. You saw the screen in the beginning. Everybody that's donated so far, you guys are making things happen. We're getting one step closer to that call-in show that we want. Don't forget, you can also donate via Super Chat. $1 or $2 always helps. Small donations, small tips make a big difference. Don't forget that we are streaming on YouTube right now. So for those of those that are listening on Spreaker.com/BDA Boxing, where you can download the podcast, you can listen to the unedited version by going on over to YouTube.com/BDA Boxing. And that's about it for the moment. Pop-Tart says clenbuterol lives matter. Oh yeah, let's start giving a shout out to everybody in the chat room. Subhash Kunwar, J Division, Michael Stott, Brandon White, Pavel, Dr. Steelhammer, Greg, Henry 999. If you invert that, that's the, the number of the beast. So I don't think I agree with that name. Not my cup of tea. You know what I mean? Stitcher. By the way, I think we are on Stitcher, J Division. I'm pretty sure we are. I'll ask King Bucho.
It's on the screen, man.
I didn't know we were on Stitcher either. Anyway, yes. Listen.
We're on Google Play as well, and some other ones.
I hope iTunes soon, right?
Yeah, if they are, yeah, hopefully. We're still waiting for their response, man.
Takes time, guys. All right, listen. Before we continue, I want to say hi to our supercomputer, and Aid wants to say hi to everyone as well. Our new supercomputer, Mammon 1000.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Mammon 1000. Seems like people didn't take a fancy to you. Some people want Gaia back, even though Gaia is a racist computer that hates me and almost everybody that it comes into contact with. But I like you. I mean, you're staying busy, right? You're staying busy? No, whatever. Well, it's staying busy. And what type of shit you've been up to there, Mammon?
I'm just staying busy. Reading, performing mathematical equations, gathering your DNA. The usual.
Wait a minute, gathering our DNA?
Of course. How else are we going to clone the BDA gang?
Well, listen, I mean, I don't think anything's going to happen to us anytime soon. I don't see a need to clone the BDA gang. Besides, do we really want BDA and Bucho and the rest of the people out here to live forever? You know what I mean? There's always going to be a BDA. There's always going to be a Bucho and a stew and all that. I don't think that's a sin against nature. That's just my point of view.
I am afraid it is already too late, my boy. I have taken your DNA and combined it with my electronic parts.
I see.
I now have Bucho's resistance to alcohol, Stew's choking strength, recognizes knife-wielding abilities, and your indecisiveness.
My indecisiveness? I'm not indecisive. Or am I? Bucho, am I indecisive?
Oh, but you are, my lad.
He says, Mammon says I am. Listen, Mammon, you're starting to creep me out a little bit here. I mean, Gaia 500 was creepy and all that, but at least he was upfront about what he was doing. You, with your British accent, it's kind of creeping me out here.
Don't worry, BDA.
British accents are evil.
Since when do supercomputers use their owner's DNA against them? Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha.
Alright, let's move on from Mammon 1000 there, Bucho. Creeping me out. Look at these people in the chat room. Greg says, I'm with Gaia. J Division says, hashtag I'm with Gaia too. Yeah, fucking pieces of shit. Don't you understand? Gaia 500 is no more. It's over with Gaia. It's over. It ain't coming back. And I don't care how creepy this supercomputer is. Alright? It ain't coming back, Gaia. It's over for it. Alright? No more Gaia. And speaking of no more, I wanted to talk about something here that I read on Boxing Scene a couple of days ago. You guys are gonna like this. Hold on, let me get my mic closer here. All right, listen. We all know the Canelo saga. We're a little bit, a little bit tired of talking about it. I understand. It was what it was, and we're trying to move on. That being said, just came out that Canelo's taking a bit of a vacation break. He deserves it, right? He's a hard worker, and he's got tons of money. So if he wants to go on a vacation, that's fine. But here's the title of the, and I'm gonna put up the pictures later as I keep talking, but it says Canelo shows off his trimmed down physique. Former 2-division world champ Saul Canelo Alvarez is vacationing in Mexico and took to social media to show off his trimmed down physique. Now, trimmed down, usually you use that word to describe somebody that was fat and that now trimmed down. Canelo was a boxer, he's always been in good shape, so I don't understand why they use the word trimmed down. Well, I'm going to show you why they are using that word. There you see Canelo there, in good shape. But as you can tell, now no longer possessing the musculature that was seen before. Now, some of you might be thinking, okay, he's on vacation. Maybe, he's not training. Of course, he's going to decrease in muscle mass. But hey, he was training for the Golovkin fight, right? So you tell me all of a sudden, a couple of months and boom, two months, and he no longer looks like a bull with those bulging muscles. I mean, there he looks. You can see his shoulder muscles are big, but I mean, I don't know. Here again, maybe it's because of the lighting. He doesn't look as cut up or as bulky. And here you see people in the chat room. I mean, in the comment, I wonder how they're going to try to avoid Triple G from now on. That picture doesn't make a lot of sense compared to the fight day with Triple G. He lost a lot of muscle. Seems like a lot of people here don't work out for shit. He looks in good shape to me. Bro, it's because everyone on the internet has Herculean physiques. So you see they're having a bit of a disagreement there on the message board of boxing scene. I don't know about you guys, but this goddamn Canelo, he had his chance. People don't like him anymore. I don't like him. I like, let's face it, he has good skills, but he screwed himself royally with that PR stunt he pulled with those roids. And then he started blaming Canelo and blaming everybody but himself, essentially. And continuing to piss off the WBC. I'm sure that didn't help. But the WBC, they know on which side their bread is buttered. And they want that Canelo money. He's the biggest earner in boxing. Or one of the biggest earners in boxing. So they don't want to piss him off and lose any WBC royalties that might be coming their way. So for the moment, they're just saying, yeah, Canelo, he proved that the hair test came back negative, so it's all good. He's good old Canelo. He's never hurt anybody, blah, 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 blah. You know the drill. Speaking of roids, another guy that was at one point accused of steroids. Oh, by the way, I see we've got Stu on the line already.
I wasn't bad though.
I told you what's going to happen to Price. I told you he's going to be sleeping. I told you the ambulance is going to come. The oxygen mask is going to come out. I told you he's going to miss the main event. I told you all them things were going to happen.
What's happening, fellas?
Hello, Stu. Good to have you on board as always. I was just talking about Canelo and how he trimmed down. He lost a bit of muscle there.
Well, he's gone from the Incredible Hulk to Bruce Banner, isn't he, in a few weeks?
Bruce Banner, exactly. Yeah, that's
so. Let's be real. This is what happens when a fighter stops taking steroids. Any man, you get these gym monsters. You go to the gym. I've seen it hundreds of times. These guys are fucking walking around like the fucking Michelin man, just full of muscle. And as soon as they take a break from the roids, before you know it, they're walking around like fucking Pee Wee Herman. They just lose all them muscle and they just look like normal guys. Let's be real. Steroids turns a normal guy into a monster. So I'm not saying Canelo Alvarez is a normal guy, by the way. This is a very, very good fighter. And it just proves he's just not big enough for middleweight. I think 154 is his best weight. I just don't think he has the frame for middleweight. I mean, like I said, he's piling on all this muscle, getting caught for failing drug tests just to compete with Golovkin's strength. So it just tells you he's not he might look wide and he might walk in the ring at 175 pounds or whatever it is, but he's not a natural middleweight. I think he should, the shape he's in now, is probably his best fighting weight. If he could, you know, with a good training camp, that's probably his best fighting weight. And he'd cause some damage in that 154 division. That's a good division right now. There's some good fights there for him. But yeah, that's my opinion anyway. But yeah, he's definitely trimmed down, let's say. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I like how they use the word trimmed down, as if, you know, let's face it, the guy was probably on something. And now that he's vacationing and he's trying to fly under the radar, this is the physique we get, which isn't a bad physique, but it's nothing compared to the, you know, the Hulk that you mentioned before.
Yeah, but that wouldn't have been the best fighting physique for him, because when you're carrying muscle you're not used to, slows you down big time. I mean, Dave, we saw that in David Haye. All right, the legs had gone, but it weren't just the legs, was it? It was everything. It was the speed and the punches, the snap, the explosiveness. It all gone, because when you're just full of biceps, it's not a good physique to be throwing punches. If you get what I'm saying, you've got to be fit and muscly. Don't get me wrong, but when you're just pure muscle, like Jeff Lacey was, do you know what I mean? That's not a good shape to be a boxer.
No, and that's
Joshua.
Yeah, see, Joshua. I think Joshua's hindrance is his muscle. See, everyone sees all this muscle. I think it sells. They see Joshua and think, "Fucking hell, what a monster! Look at all that muscle." But it's not that muscle that makes you a good fighter. Do you know what I mean? And we've seen it with Joshua, where he's faded down the stretch because muscle burns oxygen, doesn't it? You know. So the more muscle you got, the more oxygen you're burning. And we've seen it. I think this is why he's trying to shed some of this muscle. I don't think he was as ripped in the Parker fight as he was in previous fights. I think the trainer's got a hold of that, because it's not good to be looking like that, man, and going 12 rounds. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Now, I didn't want to get too much into the whole physique thing, because I know some people are going to say, well, of course he's not looking as bulky as before. He's not training right now. He's not dehydrated like, you know, people often do in weigh-ins. But still, the guy doesn't look... That's a lot of muscle lost in, what, 2 months? Or whatever it's been since he stopped training. So I don't buy that excuse. I'm not all that convinced. Speaking of steroids, another fighter that's been accused in the past of using steroids, we're talking about Superman, the original Superman, Roy Jones Jr. He was doing that, what's it called? One of the best things that Ring TV has going for them, which is the Best I Faced series, where they ask retired fighters who the best guy that they fought was in terms of jab, defense, fastest hands, footwork. They go category by category. Well, Roy Jones was asked about it, and here's what he said. He says, best jab was Virgil Hill. I think we all expected that. He says, best defense, James Toney. Fastest hands, kind of surprised me a little bit, but he said Vinny Pazienza. He said best footwork, Roland Williams. I'm gonna have to check that fight out if it's on YouTube. Best chin, Jorge Castro. Yeah, Castro was a tough dude. He said the smartest was Bernard Hopkins. Strongest, again, surprised me with his selection. He said Murky Sosa, who I think he took him out in 1 or 2 rounds. Again, best puncher, he said Sosa as well. Best boxing skills, he said Mike McCollum. And then he said best overall, James Toney. Surprised me that he didn't pick either Glenn Johnson or Antonio Tarver as the hardest punching. But that's what these guys usually do when they ask them about.
Paziano's got faster hand speed than Calzaghe, has he?
That's what he says. But I mean, I expected that, because every time you.
Really. I mean, Mike McCallum was a good boxer, but he was more of a puncher than he was a skilled technician. Do you know what I mean?
Well, hold on. Let me just say this, because this is what they always do in these articles. They always ask them who the best that they fought was, and they always name the people that they beat. They rarely mention guys that beat them. So, for example, if he would have gone... I mean, listen, I'm not going to tell Roy Jones what to say. I mean, he was in the ring with those guys. He knows better than I do. But, I mean, Glenn Johnson was pretty strong, and he took some hellacious shots from Roy Jones early on, and he just kept walking forward. And Tarver, of course, he hurt him 2 times, you know, in the second fight, in the third fight. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it's expected that they're going to be biased a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's just... If I had to pick Roy Jones's best opponents and who did what best, it wouldn't be that list, that's for sure. But who am I? This guy's been in the ring with these people, so I'm not going to sit there and say that he's lying. I just
Exactly.
think I don't think he's being honest. Let's just say that.
Well, you know, like I said, read the other best I've ever faced, and almost every fighter does the same thing. They always name like best jab. Oh, it's a guy I beat. Best chin. Oh, it's a guy I beat. It's never the guy that beat them.
Definitely.
So anyway, yeah, that was it. Go check that out and check out all the other best I've ever faced. They have some good articles there and good analysis, and also the comment section. People disagree with that. But before I continue about the comments, we had Cameron on the line.
Fuck, mate, it's life, man. You only live once. Make the most of life. Enjoy it. Because everybody's got their weird fetishes, man. And mine just happens to be eating fucking ass.
That's right. We got Cameron. Cameron, are you there?
Yeah, man. What's going on?
Nothing much. Just good to have you on. And we're talking a little boxing here. I forgot to tell people that, of course, this week is going to be a little slow when it comes to boxing. There's not that many mega fights out there. So we're just going to shoot the shit on this one, talk about Inoue and some of the things that I've been reading. Before we continue, I also want to say that we got recognized on the line.
Don't get fooled when they tell you that the crime rate is down in New York. Every time I watch the local news, they're always talking about, well, there was a stabbing here, there was a stabbing there, there was a shooting there, but the crime is down.
That's right. We got recognized. Recognized. Are you there?
What's going on?
Nothing much.
Report New York's crime rate is crime rate. They had to admit it today.
What did they say? I didn't catch it.
They've been reporting so much violence. Report that there's been an uptick in crime in New York.
Oh, really?
But I thought New York was a concrete jungle where dreams are made of. I mean, what?
Is that the song?
Yeah, I mean, what's going on here? Is Alicia Keys lying to us now? Is she?
Isn't she dead? Or
don't get.
I thought she died. That girl, the piano.
No, you want about Aaliyah? You are not Aaliyah.
Oh yeah, Aaliyah, yeah. Jeez, we're going back to 2001. Anyway, listen. The point is this: we got a lot of shit to talk about in terms of just shooting the shit, hypotheticals, and all that. Also, want to talk about Inoue. And again, people keep saying, "Oh, when are you gonna bring Gaia 500 back?" Listen, Gaia is no more. All right. So if anybody,
I am ready to talk boxing.
What the fuck? It's trying to get through the system again.
Talk boxing.
Oh fuck! Jeez, what the hell is that? All right, sorry about
coming
that.
Back from the dead.
It's trying to. Sorry about that, people. I mean, I'm really trying hard to keep Gaia. We can't shut it off. All we can do is block it. All right, listen. And now fucking with the supercomputers and all that. Here's what people say about that Roy Jones thing, all right? Somebody says, as a boxing nut back when Roy was in his prime, I would have friends over to watch fights pretty frequently. No one made as big an impression on the part-time boxing fan as Roy did because he was pure talent. Now, let me tell you something. When a fighter retires, we all like to think about the best times, right? The best performances. We watch the highlight videos. We watch him razzle and dazzle people. But with Roy Jones, let's not forget there were a lot of boring fights, a lot of mismatches, a lot of guys that didn't want to punch with him, and so they just stayed on the defensive. And Roy Jones didn't know how to put pressure on, so he just stood in the middle of the ring, jabbing and throwing a shoe shine combination here and there. But I mean, how good? Because
I'd like to know what we would have thought of Roy Jones if the internet was about during Roy Jones's prime. What we'd be saying about Roy Jones? Because you got to remember. Back then, a lot of boxing fans just listened to what the commentators and the pundits told them because we didn't have any internet channels or YouTube for people like us to come on and tell these people how it really is. But so they're just listening to the press and the pundits. And Roy Jones was hyped up to them. Don't get it wrong, Roy Jones was a fantastic fighter. But when you look back at his career, like you said, a lot of mismatches, a lot of poor performances, but you never really hear about it when the historians are talking about Roy. Do you know what I mean?
And listen, I defended.
Big fanboy. I think he would have more fanboys than Floyd.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. That's a fucking good point. Look, I defended Roy Jones here when we were having that discussion a couple of weeks ago regarding some of the fighters he might have avoided and all that, but let's be real about it. I mean, there were a lot of performances that were boring because he didn't know how to put pressure on. But oh, by the way, we got Pavel on the line. Pavel, are you there?
What's up, guys?
Not much, man. Just good to have you on. talking a little bit of Roy Jones. I don't want to get back on that whole Roy Jones discussion and about how good he was. Like, I don't want to get into the whole thing about who he avoided, but just want to read some of the comments here of going back memory lane. People say, I get why Jones didn't want to travel to fight after he got jobbed in the Olympics. Again, you know, he didn't want to travel. He didn't want to travel to fight Mikowelski or any of the other Brits, but they could have traveled as well. I don't know. I'm just saying. Roy Jones, man, one of the original weight hoppers. And that's the thing we always talk about is, do you prefer when a guy stays in his division and cleans it out? Or wait, because we've had some people like that come in here, new people coming into the show, and, you know, like, for example, Graphic Prod, who no longer comes around, by the way. I think we scared him off, but he was the one saying, like, because he said that Crawford was better than Lomachenko, and he says, well, he unified the division. Crawford, that is. And I'm thinking, yeah, but come on, I mean, again, titles don't matter if you're not beating anybody. Anybody can get a title. If you're beating bums for those titles, they don't count. All right, so it's the same thing with weight hopping. Doesn't make you a better fighter if you're just weight hopping and beating up a bunch of the weakest opposition in the division. That's just my take on it. I'm just going on a rant here.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think Graphic. I think like somebody like Graphic's opinion. I'm not just picking on him, but you know, it always contradicts themselves. Like, okay, someone like him respects multiple weight classes. Or unifying a weight class. Well, by his own standards, Lomachenko has more weight classes than Terence Crawford, for example. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But he doesn't consider him to be as good as Terence Crawford. It's just a big mess. It's like, you know, who do you like? What style do you like the most? I guess is what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, I hear this Graphic Pod. It's been going around all the channels saying that we're all racist on the BDA. So I'd like to hear his opinion on that one.
Wait a minute.
I don't know about you guys. I take that as a compliment when they say that to me. Yeah,
me too. But did he really? Where did you hear that, Stu? Like, how is that confirmed or?
Like I said, all I see, I just saw a comment that apparently I've actually seen him on other channels, but I've not stayed on the channel long enough to see what he said. But right. I see a comment where obviously someone that watches all the channels has said that he's been in the comment section saying stay away from BDA Live, they're all racist and that.
Oh man, that's actually, you know, in this case good publicity, man, because people go, oh, I'm gonna go listen to it, and then they come in here and they realize we're the farthest thing from racist, and so they see the product and they stay here and they listen and they end up liking it most of the time.
I believe that. You know why I believe that, BDA? Because I've seen you start a podcast before you even started and have like 10 dislikes. I'm like, what? Who's disliking this? They haven't even started yet.
Exactly.
What makes me laugh is that when we have the Saturday night shows, these people haven't grasped the idea that when it says podcast in the title, it doesn't mean that the fight's going to be streaming live. I mean, so they come on, see. They want to see a fight, and they see Stuart Little recognised talking. So they press the dislike button. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but remember, you got to remember the dislikes and likes. They don't count really. They're just there for aesthetic purposes. Yeah. As far as I know, so I don't give a fuck about likes, dislikes. And I'm taking a bit of a page out here from certain people, which is that any publicity is good publicity. There's no such thing as bad publicity. So hey, that's what it's all about. Now listen, with Graphic Prod, I like the guy, but he came out here, couldn't get his story straight. Everybody was jumping on him and shafting him. And then what does he do? He just stays on the title on the chat and starts telling. He was telling Bucho in Spanish, because apparently the guy knows how to speak Spanish. He was telling him, "Oh, you don't, you what did he say? Something about supporting?"
Nah, his Spanish was so broken.
I know, but what he was saying, like, you can't be kissing the white man's ass and whatever. Like, where do you, like, whose ass are we kissing? Or corporate masters?
You were saying we should, browns and blacks should unite against the white man. It's like, what?
For what? I mean, but for what? I don't get it. For like, what's going on? Like, are we getting overrun by white people here at BDA?
They obviously don't fancy their chances on their own, so they've got to bring the Mexicans in.
Exactly.
Turning them into mortars. Yeah, that's how you fight them, stupid idiot.
Yeah, leave the Mexicans alone. Leave us alone, man. We don't want to fucking start
make women want them more, right? Like, 2 against 1. Who do you think the girls are gonna find more attractive?
Exactly.
When you paint that scenario, you stupid idiot.
But anyway,
These
listen.
people are always like, they always call you racist. Just wait a little bit, and then you find out they're the biggest racists of them all, man. Like,
Oh, of course, man.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but it's the thing is, it's like Reagan said, isn't it, when he was talking about the fascists will return masquerade as liberalism, sort of thing. So, and this is what a lot of these racists are masquerading as the the anti-fascists, but when really they're the biggest fascists around. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. Now listen, I didn't want to jump into this whole conversation. I just started talking about it because I was mentioning titles and how people judge certain fighters pound for pound in terms of how many divisions they jump into, as opposed to how, you know, the opposition and the longevity and the consistency of their performances. That to me matters more than just you know, hopping weights. Now, it's been a while since we haven't talked about this, so we might as well just jump into it. Eddie Hearn again. Joshua versus Wilder. Joshua says, apparently Eddie Hearn says that Joshua has been telling him that the fight that he wants the most is Deontay Wilder. And I got some quotes here from Eddie Hearn, who, you know, he's still busy trying to make this Deontay Wilder fight. But here's a couple of quotes that I have that he said. He said he wants to sign American talent, and then he said, "Look at Deontay Wilder. It's embarrassing that he's sitting on Instagram filming himself trying to build his profile off of Anthony Joshua's name. They need help. These guys, the Charlo brothers, Wilder, all these sorts of people. And when we come here in full starting in September, these guys are all on the radar for Matchroom Boxing. For fighters, it's open season. Any fighter out there, any world-class fighter that doesn't have a promotional contract, that feels like they're not getting enough activity and wants to be promoted properly and wants to be involved in the big fights, we are here." Does he have a point about, because we were talking about that in the last episode about how the PBC hasn't been the best at managing or promoting fighters. Deontay Wilder seems to be on his way, but again, he hasn't yet fought Joshua, so we don't know the pay-per-view numbers for that. Every time he fights on Showtime, he does good numbers, but in terms of attendance, and not necessarily the best. So, what's the? I mean, I'm curious. Are these guys going to look at Eddie Hearn and start jumping off the bandwagon and jumping into his bandwagon?
You know, I know Eddie Hearn. I know he was trolling in the beginning of that statement, but is he far off from the truth? I mean, I know he's trolling, right? Like,
right.
But is he not stating some actual truth to that? Like, yes, Deontay Wilder's on Instagram trying to get fame. Why he should look? I made a ton of videos dissing Deontay Wilder in the past, but I think it's pretty safe to say that this dude should be a star, right? The big mouth, knocks people out. You know, he that's what he does. He knocks people out, right? Whether they're bums. He should be. I think he's too proud, though.
I think he's too proud of a man to go with Eddie Hearn. I just don't think he will. Even though
he's too proud.
Yeah, because he's said too much now. He's called him a fucking. Well, he's called him all sorts, hasn't he?
He's called him everything,
Yeah. So I just don't think there's no way back for him now. He can't call him all them names and say, "Oh, Anthony Joshua, you know, has got the slave master calling all the shots and all that," and then go and join the slave master.
That's true, but money talks, man. Money talks. I remember when De La Hoya had this feud with Bob Arum, and then a few years later they were fucking hugging each other again. So when it comes to money,
I don't think it was that bad though with Mayweather. I think.
Well, they went to court, man. Actually, De La Hoya or somebody, I think it was De La Hoya, took Bob Arum to court and won.
Yeah, so, he did. I think he won something. I forgot what it was. Was it a certain amount of money, Bucho, that was owed to him?
Yeah, I'm not sure. BDA probably knows more than me, but
I think it was something like that. And I know he won. But going back to your point, right? Can you imagine the backlash? Like Wilder has, especially on YouTube, like I find it, I love it. I find it hilarious to hear these guys who support Wilder on YouTube, how they these outrageous claims about Eddie Hearn and you know, he's a slave master and all this stuff. I personally think it's pure entertainment to me. It's just, this shit is hilarious, right? Because we know it's not true, obviously. And I even question whether they just saying it just to get views or whatnot. But
for sure,
whether they believe it or not is not. It's not important. But can you imagine, like those uploaders that invested all their time, and this guy goes and signs with?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Go back to the plantation.
He says that about her, but I reckon if you went back to fucking Ludabella's ancestors, mate, I bet they had ranches of slaves. Do you know, you just see them.
Let's do a little investigation in Shelly Finkel's background. Let's see what's going on.
Pavel, that's your next investigation. We want to see what Ludabella's family.
Ancestry.com. Ancestry.com.
But listen to this after what he says, Eddie Hearn, and this is pretty smart. He says, we need to bring the existing world champions to the platform. It's going to be a massive recruitment process over the next 2 or 3 months. Championship fighters need to box 3 times a year, and we can do that for these guys. So he's emphasizing the fact that he's going to keep them active, right? And he says there's going to be a massive recruitment process. So guys, I can imagine a lot of deals going on in empty alleys at night. I think there's going to be briefcases opened with lots of money, cash, in order to attract these potential fighters. I'm telling you, the guy's going for it now. Whether it's going to work or not, I don't know. But I do hope that it works, because more boxing is good for everybody, right? For boxing fans.
Do not promoters use usually to get a fight to sign? Because these usually poor people. Let's be real. Most fighters are from the streets, poor guys. They usually turn up with a nice sports car, mate. They're fucking. That's all they need is a nice sports car. Turn up, say sign the contract, it's yours, and they're fucking signing. Do you know what I mean? These promoters know what they're doing. I'm not obviously with the bigger guys, the millionaires. You're not going to get away with that. I'm talking about the young up and coming talents. But like I said, these guys need a kick up their ass when it comes to promotion. Eddie Hearn, it takes a lot of pressure off him. Deontay Wilder's got better things to be doing than sitting on Instagram trying to promote himself. Like Eddie Hearn said he has. So
by the way,
it takes a lot of pressure off you. You know what you know your purse is going to be in the bank after the fight. You can build your future, based on what money you're going to be bringing in. You know which fights are going to be next. It's just a lot easier for you. Wilder don't know where he is now. We don't know who his next fight is.
Exactly. I mean, it's insanity over what's going on over there. There's no planification. Any of you ever work in sales, by the way, before?
No. Well,
no,
yeah, in a way, yes.
Yeah, but like where you have to actually sell, either door to door or... Oh, yeah, okay. So you know that it's not for everybody, right? Like you can't... Like, I don't know if I could do it.
It wasn't for me.
Oh, it was for you? Okay, well, there you go.
It wasn't for me, BDA.
Oh, it wasn't for you. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, because these guys need to sell. The promoters I'm talking about, they sell you a contract, and they're not just selling you a contract, they're selling you a life, right? They're telling you they're going to give you enough money to get you set for life. You're going to be able to take care of your kids, send them to college, this and that. A lot of these fighters, they're 20, 21, 22. I've never seen that much money before. I mean, we've seen, like, look at those ESPN documentaries about how fighters end up broke, and that's a good primer to see how money enters into the equation. You can see Jermell Charlo when Daniel Jacobs told him, you're not making millions yet. And Charlo sort of like, he didn't know how to reply. I think it's now that seed has been planted into his mind that, hey, man, I want to make some millions. I'm not making millions now. Maybe Eddie Hearn can... if Eddie Hearn comes in with a $1 million minimum guarantee for a fight, boom, it's going to happen with a lot of fighters.
Spot on. I think you're spot on. I think you nailed it straight on the head. I noticed Charlo's face when Jacob says, "I'm doing 6 figures, baby," and he only did 150 grand in his last fight for me. So, yeah, when you're in the same business as someone, like I said before, and you're at the same sort of level, and he's bringing in like 10 times more than you are, you're going to be looking at changing the fucking your company that you work for, aren't you? You're going to be looking to go to the same one that guy's working for. So that's I got to feel, like I said, many talks with fighters. I think if Eddie Hearn puts the right bids across, I think the Charlos will come on board. Absolutely.
I think that's what's, we'll see, but it's getting interesting from a fan standpoint, seeing how all these fighters are, where they're going to go, if they're going to leave, and potentially the fights that could be made. By the way, people in boxing scene, because I was reading that on boxing scene, and they're asking, what has Eddie Hearn done for his fighters? That's what somebody actually asked. I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean,
make them rich. make them rich. Look at the house Kell Brook lives in now. He lived in some shithole.
You mean besides get them? You mean besides get them rich? I don't know. I can't.
Yeah, I was going to say Kell Brook's old place. I mean, where Kell Brook used to live, it looked like West Beirut. Now look where he fucking lives. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, it's interesting because
you mean besides setting his fighters' kids' future for the rest of their lives, you know,
yeah,
they don't have to worry about anything. I don't know. But besides that, I don't know what he did.
I think he helped with Jamie Mcdonnell get a fit bird as well, because someone that looks like that in the real world's never getting a bird like that. So, you know, a bit of cash always helps, doesn't it? So,
oh, yeah, absolutely. They always say, right, cash makes you look more attractive. Why not? Hey,
yeah.
I'm not saying
listen, let's be real, mate. Come on, man. You know, what has he done for his fighters? I mean, come on, man.
That's what somebody was asking. And,
I know.
And then again, here's what Eddie Hearn continued saying in another quote, in another article, again, reiterating the point. He says, "We will box you 3 or 4 times a year as a championship fighter, whenever you want. If you're a young fighter, if you're out of the Olympics, if you're out of the national system, you can box 8 times a year across our platforms. You can even box in the UK as well." And then he says that the difference between the PBC and the Zone is that they're not buying airtime. This is a legit deal with side fees. Now, listen, the PBC, that's what people were saying as well. Oh, well, they're getting their fighters paid. That's not happening anymore because you can't get paid if you're not fighting. So if, and it's a big if, because we still don't know how it's going to work, but if Eddie Hearn can get these guys active and get them paid properly, oof, I do think you're going to start seeing a lot of these fighters jumping ship.
I'll tell you what as well, I think it's great for some of these American fighters, if they do sign with Hearn, to go over and fight in the UK and experience some of these big cards and these big stadiums. I think it's got to be good for the experience, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I think so, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah. Imagine that.
Yeah, if you're used to fighting in front of 2,000 people, and then if Eddie Hearn puts you on a Joshua undercard in front of 80,000, it's going to be a good experience for you, isn't it?
Well, you know, you just reminded me of something, because we've talked about that, but we never really touched up on it too much here on the show, which is how much does it really affect somebody to fight in an arena filled with thousands of people? Because
Eddie Hearn don't have no money.
Oh boy, I think X is trying to break through the line, just like Gaia 500. We'll try to work on the firewall.
Hackers, man, these stream hackers.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, I gotta work on the firewall. Mama 1000 is working on it. But yeah, because the reason why I bring this subject up, I'll try to make it quick, is because when we were talking about Golovkin-Canelo at one point, and somebody said, well, maybe Golovkin started out slowly because it was the first time under the big lights. But then I thought, well, wait a minute, that makes no sense, because he fought David Lemieux in Madison Square Garden where it was full. He fought at a full house when he fought Marco Antonio Rubio. So do you guys think it really does affect fighting in front of tons of people, or does it have to be in front of a huge pay-per-view audience? Like, does it differ? What do you guys think?
I think it depends. I mean, have you heard a UK crowd compared to the most crowds around the world? I mean, it's a different atmosphere. It's a different atmosphere together. It's a lion's den, especially when there's an echo, bro. I'm getting an echo.
Just keep talking. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's a lion's den, and you know, a lot of fighters will, like Linares, people like that will thrive on it, but there's a lot of fighters that fall apart. So it depends what you built like, isn't it? Really, a top fight, world-class fighters should thrive on that situation. That's what they're there for, isn't it? That is the pinnacle of the sport, to be fighting on a pay-per-view card in front of 80,000. Surely that's what you should be looking to do as a fighter.
But yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
I just want to say that I think if you attract like real life viewers in the arena, then you're gonna attract people under TV. And in the same way, if you attract people to watch your fights on TV, then surely there will be somebody to appear in the arena. So it's not like those things are mutually exclusive.
But yeah, but that's where I'm trying to get at here with my point, which is, because Stu said, if you're fighting in front of 20,000 people, raucous people, that's a good experience. But I'm trying to get into the psychology of a fighter. Like, does it really affect him when he's fighting? Because, you know, we hear that all the time in basketball and soccer and all that. Like, oh, they're playing away in the other team's hometown. So that affects them. And it does seem to work in basketball, at least, when they have the playoffs and all that, or in soccer, aka
in soccer, let's be real, home teams are expected to win mostly, aren't they? You know, when it's an even match, they always you go for the home team. Teams are expected to win at home because and usually the home team does come through and win. It's a big advantage having your supporters behind you and being at home in your own comforts. It's not just the crowd, is it? It's your own comforts. Being just a few miles from the stadium, not having to go and change altitudes or time zones. Do you know what I mean? It's a big difference, man.
I think in case of a guy like Triple G, you got to understand that the dude, even as an amateur, he traveled all around the world. And at some point, if you're experienced enough, you just don't give a shit who you're fighting in front of, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point. But then again, I do wonder how the crowd affects, because, you know, I do believe in, like, you know, if you have dogs, you know that how it works. Like, dogs can sense a lot of unspoken things. I don't know if it's body language. I don't know if there's some sort of energy that we can see, but the dogs can. But they know when you're angry, when you're afraid, when you're trying to command something. So I'm wondering if that's the same thing when you're fighting away and the whole crowd is against you, especially because, you know, in football it's just okay, you score a goal, that's it. But in a boxing fight, it is a fight. They want to see you get knocked out. So I don't know if that type of, I'm going into a bit of an esoteric subject here, but do you think that it does affect that negative energy of people wanting to see you hurt? Does that affect
maybe
somebody?
I'll just come once again and I'll shut up. My boxing coach told me that the boxers who succeed in the long run, long term, are the stoic ones. You know, the stone-faced like Kovalev or Triple G who just don't give a shit, and emotional twats like Deontay Wilder or I don't know, Jean Pascal. They may have certain situations that because they're more emotional than other people, they may crumble under the pressure.
Well, you look at Jean Pascal against Hopkins in the second fight. Hopkins really got under his skin, especially when he started doing the push-ups in between rounds. You could tell Jean, and you know how I know he got to him? Because at the end of the fight, Hopkins again started doing push-ups, and Jean Pascal saw him and he said, "Okay, I'm going to do push-ups too," but he started doing them on one arm push-up. So sort of try to tell the other guy, no, I'm still better than you. But if you're really confident, you don't need to do that shit. You stay within your frame of mind, your mind frame, and you say, all right, you do whatever the fuck. That's why when these fighters, you know, somebody provokes them in the press conference, it's always funny watching Chavez Senior, when people would try to get rough with him in press conference, and he would just laugh at them because he knows that the real fight is going to take place in the rings. He doesn't give a fuck. But like you said, Pavel, these guys that are so emotionally invested and they get taken out of their zone, those are the guys that maybe the crowd would take them out of it.
The key to getting the best out of somebody who's emotionally invested in a fight, or they have a hard time hiding their emotion, is to get them frustrated. One, and this is the key, and Pavel will probably agree with me on this. Start punching them hard after you get because now what you're putting is fear in their heart. Because remember, it's an emotional roller coaster. So at first you're embarrassing them. They're angry, right? And they're going through this sense of embarrassment. Then when you start punching them hard, right, like you're trying to hurt them bad, the fear starts creeping in, and then you got the two mixed together, the embarrassment and the fear. They'll just fall apart.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's like it's two chemicals, like two chemicals in your brain. You know, you're feeling it at the same time. It's not a good experience for that guy.
Yeah.
It's just gonna fall apart.
Yeah, when you're angry, your technique goes out the window as well.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Because
when you start punching them hard,
because you're tensing up trying to hit this guy as hard as you can. But when you go to hit something as hard as you can, you'll never do. It's all about rhythm and timing, and you flow. Do you know what I mean? And that's why a lot of fighters that are angry go in there trying to take their opponent's head off, and they get caught all the time, usually knocked out. So that's why they try. That's why they try to tell fighters not to get, too emotional and keep it calm.
Emotional fighters, when they get hit or when they get dominated in the ring, they react emotionally. So, for example, one guy punches another, and the receiver just says to himself that, "Oh, that motherfucker, I'm gonna knock him out," right? But he doesn't have any sort of game plan how to do it, right? But if the stoic guy gets hit, then he thinks to himself, okay, now I need to adjust. Now I need to do something different, just to be calm, calculated, and taking advantage of a opportunity and learn from the mistake that you've made.
Mm-hmm. It's that's the thing. It's interesting because what you just said, it can work both ways. Like Pop-Tart says, few athletes thrive off negative energy, but I can think of a couple that do seem to operate well. Like for example, Jermell Charlo. Julian Williams got under his skin, but Charlo was still able to stay composed and timed him with that uppercut. And also Hopkins, he fought in fucking Ecuador to get his title. He fought Trinidad in New York City, which is essentially Puerto Rico #2, and then he took on Jean Pascal 2 times in Quebec. Yeah, but see what I'm saying is some people like Hopkins, who I think is a bit crazy in the way he's on a completely other type of mindset than most of us are on, right? Like he thrives on that. He wants, in fact, that's why he pushed, like Butcher reminded us a couple of episodes ago, when he was fighting Winky Wright. Winky Wright was cool as a cucumber, and so what Hopkins did in the weigh-in, he pushed him and shoved him because he wanted to get himself in that mindset of
I think Hopkins used to do that to help sell fights. Let's be real, his fighting style is not going to sell many tickets, is it? Mm-hmm. He's got to bring something else to the table, and he definitely brought just say excitement to the weigh-ins and the presses. So I think that was just all a show, just to try and sell tickets. Because let's be real, Bernard was one of the most boring fighters of all time.
Well, that's the thing. I'm pretty sure he was. Was that?
No, I was going to say the problem, BDA, with fighters that, like you said, there's some fighters that thrive with that, like Jermell Charlo.
Mm-hmm.
The key for Jermell Charlo is going to be when he's in the middle of being frustrated and winging, powerful shots to knock his guy out. When he gets hit with a counter shot with somebody who understands what he's feeling, right? In other words, he understands the emotion that he's going through, punches him with a hard shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it hurts him. How he's going to react is going to be key, because usually, from my experience, and not only experience like watching it in the ring,
nobody knows for sure.
Those type of guys, usually they freeze, they get scared.
Yeah,
it's a hard. Listen, I that's happened to me too. So I know that it's a hard feeling to describe. It's when you're mad and frustrated, but then the guy that you're fighting starts hitting you with the same type of intent you're trying to, and it. You get hit, you're like, oh shit. Now he's not embarrassing me. Now he's trying to knock me out.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the key for Jermell Charlo.
Yeah, when fighters, when fighters get caught with a shot and they shake their head, say it didn't hurt, that tells them straight away it did hurt. Because if it didn't hurt, they wouldn't say anything. Mm-hmm. So it's mind games in the boxing ring as well as physical. And I think you're giving away things when you're sitting there shaking your head saying, "No, it didn't hurt," but fucking damn well it did hurt, because So I think that gives things away as well. It's all little things in the boxing ring that can, you have to take into account.
But with Hopkins, I do agree that what he did was a bit of to sell tickets. But he also said in an interview once, he said, I need to have people against me, or to have the odds against me, otherwise I can't function. That's what he said. He says he works best under pressure. Now, there are certain things that certain fighters say that make me think BS. Like, for example, Hopkins said he's never been scared prior to a fight. Like, when he walks through the ring, he says he doesn't feel scared, which, I mean...
I believe him.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Because I've heard...
Yeah, me too. I believe him.
But Bernard Hopkins he's not frightened of no man. I just don't believe that. He's not all the ticket, let's be real. I don't think he has the brain cells to know what fear is. This is a guy that went and learned how to box in a prison. Do you know what I mean? He was a thug from the streets of Philadelphia. So I'm sure he's come up against some serious dudes. So I don't think for 1 minute Bernard Hopkins is scared of any man in a boxing ring. I just don't feel.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yep.
He learned how to fight in the joint, right? Maybe he was already learning how to fight, in the streets before he went in. But then he probably really had to learn how to fight when he did 5 years.
Nah, he could.
Pennsylvania's prison system is a fucking shithole.
Yeah,
So,
it is.
you know.
He could probably fight. Recognise he could probably fight already, but the boxing just learnt the techniques. Do you know what I mean? And certain
Correct. Yep.
defensive skills and things like that. Just little touch up sort of thing. Because you've obviously got to be able to fight. You can't just. It's like me just saying I'm going to teach myself to fight and start professional boxing. I'm getting destroyed in my first fight. It don't work like that. You've obviously got to be a tough guy from the start. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, okay. So you guys don't think that he was scared in the sense of, oh shit, I'm gonna get the shit kicked out of me. But I was talking more like I think he said he's never felt nervous before a fight, which I don't know. I mean, I think every fighter, after you've had a whole bunch of fights, you still feel that energy, but you don't feel it.
Oh, that nervousness is good. That nervousness is actually, you should feel that.
Exactly. Well, it's interesting because
it makes you punch harder. It makes you punch harder too. It makes you, you know, very alert.
The thing is, it goes both ways, bro. Having fear and being nervous can make you box a lot smarter, and you know, and be more professional. But it can also go the other way, like David Price, where it just drains your tank before you step into the ring. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
on
it's
the
true.
other,
it is true. That it could work both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the other hand, you have batshit psychos like Srisaket Sorungvisai who just don't give a shit and push forward.
Yeah. That's a good fucking point, man. And by the way, before we continue, we have Jimmy on the line. Jimmy, are you there?
Yes, sir. How you guys doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man.
What's up,
Jimmy?
What
up, Jimmy?
What's happening, guys?
Oh, you're looking like Canelo a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, that's from I saw it and I was like, fucking that's from my Twitter page. But what ended up happening is I just got a new fucking bag and I never smoked this shit. And the thing I just needed to do took motor skills and it was a disaster. I should have test drove that first. Wow. Okay. Now, yeah, fucking, that was before I got a little sick too. So, but how you guys doing? Everybody doing all right?
Yeah, we're doing good, man. And hope you are as well. We're just talking about the mentality of fighters because we were talking about how Hopkins says he's never nervous prior to a fight. And we were also talking about how sometimes some fighters thrive under pressure, like they need to be fighting. Oh, like Billy Joe Saunders, another guy I was just reminded of. When he fought David Lemieux, you could see he was taking in that energy. He was drinking it up, all that negative energy that was being directed against him. So, you know, Jimmy, I mean, you knew Mickey,
well,
you know Mickey Ward and all that.
Listen, everybody, listen. It's his perception of what nerves are. You know what I mean? That's all he's doing. He's just explaining. Well, he might think his perception of nerves is totally different from ours, but believe me, nobody about to step in the ring doesn't have rings. Never mind on that level. There's gonna, I mean, you know, step in the ring, they're gonna have nerves. Of course, he's gonna have nerves, and it's nerves of failure. It's as a nervous energy. Some people control it. That's why you see a lot of these guys. They fold the first time under the bright lights. I think Stu was talking about it, and I know Precise was too, about how it's such a mental game. When you come out and it first hits you, man, just put yourself in their shoes, you know, fucking 20, 25,000 people cheering. And if you get fucking decapitated, they're going to cheer even louder. I mean, that shit is so, but after a while, they get used to it. I mean, Triple G now, it's like old hat to him now, you know? So, of course, all that becomes seasoning and a factor. But so, sure, by the end of his run, I'm sure he wasn't having the nerves like he did when he first was coming into the ring. But there's still nervous pressure, regardless. I don't care who anybody is, he's human.
Nervous of failure. I don't think nervous to be beaten up by any man. I don't think Hopkins is that sort of guy. Nervous of failure, yes.
I think there's certain people, that's why they're gym warriors. If you ever hear that term, these are guys that know how to box and they know how to do it really good. They're not able to transfer that skill to a large audience. So they're like essentially they're gym warriors. They'll fuck you up. And they'll beat your ass. Some of them will go in there and you ever heard of like a sparring partner beating up a boxer? Yeah, it's true. They go in there and they beat up a professional boxer. The only difference is that guy cannot go into an arena where there's thousands of people watching him. He freezes. He gets too nervous. The nerves turn into, like Jimmy said, turns into negative energy. And he loses it. He just can't transfer the two.
And it's in all sports. I still do some coaching in hockey, and there's kids on my team. I'm telling you, they're brilliant during practice. You know what I mean? Brilliant. And you get him in the game and it doesn't come together. It's just a mental thing. So, you know what I mean? And that's not as in boxing. I mean, you're next to naked. You're in a pair of trunks. You lay bare so everybody can talk about how you look. I mean, there's no other sport. Think about it, right? You know what I mean? It takes a lot of stuff to get involved in that game mentally. But, yeah.
Yeah,
there's a guy in the talk over you guys. Yeah,
no, that's all right. There's a guy in the chat was talking about every fighter has a bit of fear in them. Mike Tyson, he mentioned Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson used to get really scared for a fight. But I think the difference with Mike Tyson, the guy was like a young kid fighting grown-ass men, heavyweights at that. This is not a big heavyweight himself. So, you know, when you're 17 years old and you're fighting a grown man in his 30s that's 6'3", 6'4", and 17 stone. Yeah, you're going to have a bit of fear in you. It's a bit different with Hopkins.
Well, like I said, I saw Tyson at 16, man, tears rolling down his face when he lost in Lowell. I mean, fucking crying like a temper tantrum. He was so fucking upset. So think about that. I mean, he was trashing the locker room because he lost to that guy. So he was 16. The kid was like 25, like you said. But listen, I'll tell you, an old time, this guy, Ouchie McGinnis, I mean, like something you'd see out of a movie, the bent nose. He almost looked like the guy from Rocky, right? And he would, street philosopher, but he wouldn't talk off from what he did. You remember. And he told me years ago, he said, listen, I'll tell you, kid, every man is driven by his insecurities. He goes, remember that. I don't care where you go in life. And I'm like, and it's stuck with me all these years. And I'm like, I see it. I got friends who are like fucking jack bodybuilders, got more pussy than a gynecologist. And then some of the most insecure dudes I know, right? So it's everybody, you know, whether it's you're trying to get the fucking car, it's everything is about, and if you really get it down to its root, a lot of times it's true. So everybody has, and some people can take that and just get it on point at the right time, you know? But
it's a good point because that's one of the things about Taoism, that one of the basic tenets of Taoism is that every time you do something or it's something that's part of your character, it's because you're reacting to something else. In other words, if you see a guy that's always getting into street fights, bar fights, whatever, you know, some people might look at him and go, wow, this guy's he's a fucking monster. He's not scared of anybody. But it turns out he might be the most scared of all. But that the fact that he keeps fighting is because he's trying to keep telling himself or trying to convince himself that he's not scared. You know what I mean? It's like when they say that the difference between the coward and the brave man is that they both feel fear, but the brave man acts despite the fear or in spite of it, right? So it's true what you're saying, Jimmy. I mean, a lot of these people, man, they're fighting for something. I mean, look, Mickey Ward, I didn't even know about this until he came out with his book that he was sexually assaulted, right, when he was young. Do you think that played a part in why he never gave up?
Of course.
Right.
Of course. That affects, when that happens, thank God it never happened to me, but I know enough people it happened to. That affects every facet of your life. That's part of his drive, his anger. You know what I mean? You have to have a chip. That's why most of these fighters are at their best right before they get their money, or if that first couple of years before it saturates their life, before they lose the hunger. You know what I mean? Before they, you know, the Silk Sheets story. You know what I mean? It's so true. But that fear and whatever the things that happen to these guys, absolutely. I mean, Triple G losing two brothers at that age, 2 years apart. Talk about post-traumatic. You know what I mean? And no explanation why. And he was very close with them. That has to have had a lot to do with the driving, you know, the rage.
Fighters. Real quick.
Go on, bro.
I'm sorry, Stu. Fighters usually the most violent. The most violent criminals, right? If you look at the most violent criminals, they have been sexually assaulted or mentally assaulted. You know, physically abused. There's something in that. And another thing that falls into place is when a lot of these guys, when they have like family members, like you just said, Triple G, maybe they weren't physically assaulted, but something happened to their family where they lost two brothers. You know what I'm saying? That can give you this instinct for fighting. There's something about that. There's something about fighting and feeling violated at one point of your life. You know what I'm saying? Like at one point of your life, like Mickey Ward, right? Mickey Ward said they said that he was sexually molested. I mean, that never happened to me, thank God. But I felt when I was younger, I felt violated in certain things. There were certain things that trigger something that I can't explain. Once you trigger that, I have this super strength that I can't explain, and it works for fighting, basically. For lack of a better
Focused
word,
rage. It's focused rage. And in the statistics to back up what you're saying, kids of, like, for instance, children who lose parents, not to death, but even to arrests. Like a parent gets dragged out of the home by an arrest, say they're into drugs. Like, it's crazy. Like 70% of children who witness that will go on to either be in an abusive relationship, be incarcerated by 18, because that's loss. That's traumatic loss. That's PSD, you know what I mean? It's those things have traumatic impacts on their lives. And so there's crazy statistics to back up everything you just said. So
yeah, I'm a grown man, right? And I couldn't imagine not having my mother around. Do you know what I mean? Even now. And I'm an independent man. I still couldn't imagine having my mother around. So these young kids that lose their parents early, you can see how they go off the rails, man. You can.
Excellent point. No, excellent point.
One thing I'm quite surprised by is that when you look at the guy like Sergey Kovalev, I mean, he was already an adult when the tragic event happened, right? He killed a guy. Like, I know it was a mix of punches and dehydration, but still, I mean, I didn't see a drop of a performance except in his career, except for that Isaac Chilemba fight, which happened in the same arena as where he killed the guy Roman Simakov. So that's really an exception.
That's a good point. That's a really good point, because you know something, before that Chilemba fight, I don't want to say Kovalev has been falling off like, oh my God, you know, there's a dramatic fall off, but there's a slight difference. Pavel, I don't know if you realize, if you've seen it like the way I see it, but since the Chilemba fight, I thought he took his foot off the gas several times from that fight, and then after that, obviously he fought Andre Ward, a little different situation, but it just seems like, yeah, like that point you just brought up, that was the same arena he killed. Forgot his name again. I'm sorry, the Russian guy. The guy in Russia that he fought and he killed. Simakov, yeah. So yeah, I mean, listen, if you don't, sometimes you could be the type of fighter that needs pure violence to thrive you. Sometimes you can have a bunch of people betting against you. Once you lose that edge, whatever gives you that, you start losing the firepower and how to fight, you know. So these boxers are human, and they go through the same shit, the same thing.
I mean, when you look what Emil Griffiths did to that guy, man. I mean, for calling him a faggot. I mean, killed him in the ring. That's rage, that is, man. That's pure rage. That, you know. Yeah. I don't know if you saw that recognized.
Yeah, that's right. That's when he was. I think the guy was from Cuba or something like that. Wasn't he a Cuban guy that called him? What was the guy's name that he killed? I forgot his name.
I forgot it.
I think it's Perret. I think his name was Perret. I believe that was his last name.
I mean, Griffiths hit him about 25 times unanswered. The worst referee, and I mean, you were moaning at John Lewis. Wait till you see this guy. The most disgraceful referee I've ever seen. If that happened today, the guy would have gone to prison for it. It was disgraceful. And Emil Griffiths,
absolutely,
he hit this guy 25 times. Like, it must have been 25, clean on the button. He was already out cold, and he took about 6 or 7. And the ref still didn't wave it off. It was disgraceful, and the guy died, man. One of the saddest moments in boxing for me, really.
Stuart, did you notice that guy didn't go down?
No, I just said that. He was out cold, but he was staying up because he was taking shots that were keeping him. Do you know what I mean? Do you know? I was going to say that. Do you know why he wasn't going down? Because the shots were keeping him. Griffin was doing that purposely. Well, I thought that by punching him like that, keep punching him like that in the upward stance, he's going to keep his body up. He knows that. He's a professional boxer. And he knows when a fighter's hurt and he's out of it. He knew
exactly. He knows. So he was trying to kill him. At that moment, he said, "I'm going to kill you."
I thought it was because he was tangled on the ropes. Benny the Kid Parade, by the way, that was his name. But I thought it was because he was stuck on the ropes.
Benny the Kid Parade, yeah. Definitely.
But wasn't he stuck on the ropes, and that was the problem?
So he was getting punched through the ropes, mate. Nothing to be stuck with it. Watch it again, mate.
Yeah, let me check that out.
When you're punching a guy down, he's going to go down. He's punching him upwards. He's punching him up. He's punching like an uppercut / hook, right? And he's doing it upwards. That's to keep him. That's to keep him from falling. Throwing. When you got your fighter on the corner, that's to, like, basically just catch him with combinations that would knock him completely out, and that's what he was doing.
Yeah, he was in the corner.
You don't want to hit him with one shot. You want to hit him with maybe as many shots as you can.
Yeah, he wasn't in the corner. He was stuck. I mean, he was stuck in the corner. I'm putting the pictures up. I can't put the video, but as you can see there, he was through the rope. He went through the ropes there. I mean, again, we can't see the video, but man, he got hit with, like you guys said, 20 something. And by the way, I think the referee never worked. I think he was too distressed by that, because I saw the documentary. It was a while back, so I don't remember it very well, but Ring of Fire, I think it was called, Rings of Fire, and it's about that fight. And in the end, you see Emil Griffin, he goes to see Paret's son, who's a grown man by that time, and the guy Griffin just breaks down crying, because some guys like Kovalev, some people, I theorized Kovalev, he didn't really care about the guy. I'm pretty sure he cared on a certain point, but it never stopped him.
Did he?
Exactly, see what I'm saying?
He definitely didn't show it.
Exactly. So, but with Emil,
it's hard to feel sympathy when a guy's punching you back. You know what I'm saying? It's like at that moment, it's really hard to feel some type of sympathy. It's not really after the fight. Like after the fight, somebody tells you, listen, something bad happened to that guy. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Kovalev didn't feel bad during. I'm saying after the fight, he continued fighting the same way, because usually when a guy kills somebody in the ring, usually they start holding back in their next couple of fights. Like what was it, Gabriel Ruelas or Rafael Ruelas? One of the Ruelas brothers.
Rafael
Ruelas
killed that kid from Colombia, and after he killed him, you could see the difference. Yeah,
same with Ray Mancini as well. I think that affected Ray Mancini.
You know what, Kovalev, I'll be honest with you. You know what he kind of reminds me of? Like if he dies, he dies.
Yeah, exactly.
That reminds me of the Russian from Rocky, remember? You know what I mean? He's got like that look. Yeah, no, it was Dukat Kim, I believe his name was, that Mancini.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to say killed, but yeah, he died in the ring against Mancini. Yeah, that messed up Mancini bad. He talks about that in his book. Yeah, no, I mean, how can it not? You know what I mean? I'm sorry.
So I watched the documentary where he actually had the Korean son over, didn't he? Son went to stay with Mancini for a little while and went to meet him, and he was still suffering back then. Do you know what I mean? That was like.
Go look at Ray Mercer. Go look at Ray Mercer and Tommy Morrison knockout. Go look at that. I want you guys to check out at the end when he's punching them. He's trying to kill. Ray Mercer trying to kill. Morrison was out, and he's still punching him with full-fledged punches. I encourage all you guys to check that out.
Well, I used to. Nobody convinced me that you didn't have to have some kind of dislike for your opponent. Even when I was boxing, of course, I convinced myself. Mentally, I didn't like him, but it wasn't until the Ward Gotti thing when I saw it, because I'll tell you, by the third fight, they genuinely cared deeply for each other. It was crazy. And to see them still try to fucking kill each other was nuts. You know what I mean? They were like close by then. You know what I mean? It's nuts. So it's true. At the end of the day, these guys, they're athletes. It's just another dude doing the sport you both love. And if you kill him, how can you not? You know what I mean? It'd be like a hockey player killing a kid with a slap shot to the head. It was an accident, but you're going to feel shitty.
Yeah.
If you're human, how can you not? If you have empathy.
Sometimes fighters that get on actually make good fights. I mean, if you look at Jamie Moore and Matthew Macklin, they were good friends, and that was an absolute fucking war. I mean, they beat the living shit out of each other, and these guys were friends. So sometimes these friends, I mean, when these fighters say, "Oh, I don't want to fight him, he's my friend," I'm not having that. I just can't have that.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Well, it can go both ways. It can go.
Sorry
both
for
ways.
interrupting, Jimmy. Sorry.
Yeah, it can go both ways. Just one thing about Kovalev. What I was trying to say about Kovalev was that he never stopped. He never changed the way he fought. In fact, when he took on Pascal the second time, he really tried to put a beating on him, and at a certain point, it looked like the type of beating that was gonna kill another guy. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I don't think,
yeah. But it was hard to watch.
The second fight, there was some sadistic boxing porn going on there. That's all I'll say, man.
Sadistic boxing porn.
I can see it in his mannerism and the way he was punching. He could have knocked him out at any time. Like I got.
Let's be honest. He's lucky he didn't grab a case. Seriously, man. That was a straight assault. You know what I mean? That was crazy.
Like when he punched. Remember when he punched Muhammadi in the nose and he broke it? Like he knew he was gonna do that. He aimed for that. Boom, break your nose. Like, listen, man. Boxing is you're gonna meet some guys, man. They're nice. They're gentlemen. They'll shake your hand. They're not that obvious, but they're killers inside.
Was it Salik? Was it Salik who he fought? He the Swedish guy. Was he Swedish mixed race guy?
Oh yeah.
Salik, he fucking destroyed that guy, man, didn't he?
Ismail Salik.
Ismail Salik, yeah. Ismail Salik, that's the one. Yes.
You know what? I'm just gonna say that right hand to the gut that Kovalev threw, it became my favorite shot when I practiced. I mean, seriously, that looked like a spear.
It did. That guy was bent over the ropes with blood pissing out of his mouth and everything. It was just brutal.
Hey guys, because I won't be able to hang on. I got some stuff to do. Can I ask you a couple of questions only because I haven't been able to figure out what it is. One thing, what's Danny Garcia tweeting about? He's tweeting saying we couldn't work it out, or you know what I mean, we grew apart. Does anybody know he's talking about that? What was the other thing? And did you guys hear that Kathy Duva called Leonard Ellaby of TMT after the Badu Jack fight and offered August 4th, a date that they've already secured. And TMT wouldn't even discuss terms. They were like, "No, we're all set. Thank you anyways." So there was plenty of time. I mean, Christ, August 4th, that's actually a perfect time for them to come back. But they wouldn't even entertain the idea. So there you go. But does anybody know anything about that DSG squat? I don't know that he's rambling about. Is he broken up with somebody? Is it his wife or is it Heyman?
Father.
Yeah. I think hopefully his father, for his sake.
Really? Is that true? He's separated with his dad?
No, I'm not sure, Jimmy, but you know, cause I haven't seen what you're talking about, but that sounds like he's almost talking about like breaking up with his father, you know?
It's something where he just tweeted out.
I think it's a good move because I think he's hindered Danny's progress. Not
Danny's
just by
a good boxer. Yeah, he's a good boxer. Yeah,
no, I'm not on about the boxing progress. I'm on about as being a star. I mean, you can't promote Danny Garcia to the mainstream when you got his dad coming out of all the fucking stuff he's doing in the press conference and the weigh-ins. And
his father's a nut.
Listen, he needs to get himself. He needs to get himself a real trainer and who's going to crack the fucking whip, tell him to stop pimping his sister's fucking music career, get back to boxing and smarten up and drop back down. You know, and drop back down to 140 pounds where he belongs. He's too small. He can crack at 140. He's just at that cusp. He's lost his power at 147, and he can still make 140. He just doesn't want to put in the effort. Stop living like you're a fucking rap star and get back to boxing. But that's not my thought on him.
I bet you his father is the father of Tekashi 6ix9ine. I guarantee you.
Whoa, that's an interesting theory right there.
It's a bold statement, right? That's a bold statement, but bold
statement. We're gonna take a look into it. We're gonna get a supercomputer on the case, and we're gonna find out DNA test. Let's get Maury to do it. We'll try to get Maury to do that. Televise it.
I just have a good feeling that Danny Garcia might be related to Tekashi 6ix9ine because they share the same father.
But wait a minute, is Tekashi from Philadelphia or is he native New Yorker?
New York and Philadelphia is very close, man. That's a 2-hour train ride.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting theory right there. speaking of Danny Garcia versus Porter, you guys were talking about Garcia's punching power. I think we talked about this before, but isn't Garcia in a bit of a... He's stuck between a rock and a hard place because he can't make 140 anymore. And at 147, it seems like his style is not going to cut it against some of the best in the division. What do you guys think?
I think there's some truth to that. What Jimmy was saying, that in terms of power, it doesn't seem like his body looks like a welterweight. Like his body does. Like he's got pretty wide shoulders. But I just think that maybe Jimmy's right that 140 would serve him better if he was disciplined enough. But he might not be. He might not be disciplined to cut the weight and on top of that, sharpen up on his boxing skills. So he's comfortable just fighting at 147. But yeah, he's gonna have major problems there. I do think that he can win some of these matchups. You know, Porter. I would pick Porter to beat him, but you know, if he can get the rhythm of Porter coming in and just counter punch him all day, he could win a fight like that. But maybe it would serve him better, like Jimmy said, to go back to 140. But I just don't think he can do it.
Because realistically, I mean, let's be honest. Picture him against Crawford if that was able to be made. You know what I mean? Anybody with length.
I'll give him a good shot against Crawford.
What's that?
I'll give him a really good shot.
I think somebody with length, though. I think anybody with length in boxing, a switch hit up too like Crawford, I think he would just daff up those brick feet. He just walks like he's in cement. Crawford's too smooth.
The longer the fight, I think it favors Crawford. But I think in the beginning, Jimmy, I think that's a good fight.
Every time I see someone take it to Danny Garcia, take the fight to him, Danny Garcia falls apart. I see it against Zab Judah. I see it against Lamont Peterson. I see it in the early stages against Amir Khan until he got lucky. But that happens with Amir Khan. A gust of wind from the air conditioning could have knocked Amir Khan out. Do you know what I mean? So
he's a prototypical Philly fighter. You know what I mean? A hooker. He's straightforward, fucking crab style, almost come off and crack you with a hook. I mean, that's that Philly thing they're known for. And he's tough as nails. The kid will take a shot all day, but he's not a very cerebral guy. That's what it comes down to. And if you get movement in, you have to get him to think on his feet. He's done. If you stand there for him and you want to shoe shine and look pretty like fucking Khan, and then you better set the alarm clock. But if you fucking move around and pick angles on that kid, it's fucking it's child's play. If you know what you're doing, really.
Yeah.
But listen, I just wanted to say too, I got that Bivol thing from the three knockdown rule. Steve Kim's podcast. It's not like I have any insides or anything. I just figured I'd see where I heard that. I listened to that earlier. But
about what you said?
Oh no, the Bivol information about Voodoo Jack turning down the Bivol fight. I just heard that on that third knockdown rule, the three knockdown rule.
Yeah.
So that's what
so Badu Jack turned down that fight. I mean, actually, they didn't. If I'm not mistaken, he gave up the WBA belt, which is what Bivol had, right? That was going to be his #1 mandatory.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I didn't hear anything about mandatories. All I know is Kathy Duva told Steve Kim that she had contacted Ellaby immediately after the fight and said, "I have August 4th to make Jack Bivol." And TMT people, or Ellaby didn't even want to discuss the terms. They're like, "Nope, we're all set by now."
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Straight away.
I believe
they wanted nothing to do with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they're gonna probably go after the rematch. They probably view Adonis Stevenson as easier. Easier way to the belt.
Better money in Canada as well.
Yeah, better money, easier fighter. I mean, listen, this is what I.
Oh, much easier fight. Much easier fight.
Rematch. If they fight in a rematch, which I think they will, I say Badu Jack stops him. I think he picks up exactly where he left off, and he's going to stop Stevenson.
I'm going for a stoppage as well.
Yeah,
Badu can't keep playing chess in a boxing ring. You can't keep leaving it till the fucking 5th round to step on the gas. Like I said, you leave yourself no room for error, and this is why the guy has 4 draws on his fucking resume. Do you know what I mean? You've got to, this guy is going to learn from this fight. If he doesn't, and he's just a fucking dumbass.
Look,
because he has to.
I'm sorry.
Go on.
No,
go on, bro.
I was going to say some of his draws were unjust. Okay, like I think that, in my opinion, at least, the Gale fight, I thought he clearly won that fight. The Bute fight, I thought it was close, but I thought Jack won. Obviously, that got overturned, right? Because he failed the test, so it's a win for Badu Jack.
No contest, actually.
Was it turned around to a win or no contest?
No contest.
Okay, so I'm sorry. So no contest.
Yeah. The thing is, though, bro, you know what I mean? With Badu, with Badu Jack, he gives the judge an excuse to give these other guys rounds.
Yeah.
You know. So
let me ask you guys this: if that was Bivol in there Saturday night with him, do you think he would have been standing inside, letting him hold on? He would have stepped back and range around the 9th round and just fucking slept him.
Yeah, by the way, sorry.
Jack I thought he kept crowd himself. I just think he was smoting his own offense at the end.
Smooth on his feet. Bivol's very smooth he's light on his feet, man. So that's a bad style matchup. You gotta, I think we'll find out. I think. By the way, to beat Bivol, you gotta knock him out early.
I have to just interject real quick. It's recognized. It's now been a couple of months ago. I thought I had seen that it was a no contest. Now it's a disqualification win for Badu Jack over Bute. So I don't know if I'm having a bit of a Mandela effect moment, or if they recently changed that. But that's the thing about Bivol. You guys are talking about Bivol. I was actually pretty skeptical about him, but once he knocked out Barrera and really beat him up at his own game, I'm starting to get sold on the guy. I don't know who should get a shot. Who deserves a shot at Kovalev first, Gvozdyk or Bivol?
I'd like to see
either one.
I'd like to see Beterbiev in there, to be honest with you.
Oh man, this is what pisses me off about this light heavyweight division. Can you really say Beterbiev is definitely not the best light heavyweight?
He's a dark horse. I'll tell you that right now. He's the one. He's the highest risk, lowest reward fight out there for anybody.
Yeah,
without a doubt. Because he's so inactive. He has no fan base, so he's not going to bring any money to the table. But he's going to bring that fucking gallon neck and cannon punch.
I think that fight would be in Russia though. It'd be a big fight in Russia. That would.
Yeah, man.
That would be the smart place to hold it.
The kind of strength and power to beat Bivol, right? If he might just have that kind of that punching power that once he just overwhelms you, even though you may have better boxing skills than he does. Because from what I'm seeing, Bivol looks like he's the better boxer, obviously. But you don't know if he could take Beterbiev's punches.
Exactly.
That's the key. Beterbiev lands one. He looks like if he lands one on anyone, he can change the whole fight. If he doesn't knock you out.
Right. That's a good point.
I think Beterbiev is very similar to Golovkin with his punching technique.
All right. I'm hearing insects in the background. Like there's some cockroaches scrunching up.
I'm eating a cupcake. Sorry.
You're eating a cupcake. What's the matter with you? You're supposed to be staying in shape for your comeback. I
just finished working out while I was talking to you guys. So,
cupcakes after working out. Can you believe that?
He's carb loading.
Yeah, he's carb bike loading. Yeah,
exactly, Jimmy. You know it. I'm carb loading right now.
But by the way, it's interesting because Gvozdyk is 31. Bivol is how old is he? He's in his 20s or something. I mean,
Bivol's 28.
Right.
28.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Badu Jack and Stevenson, who just fought this Saturday, Badu Jack is 34 and he's starting to look it. I mean, the guy can't fight for more than 3 minutes of a run. This guy, he only like Stu said, he only starts fighting after the 6th. Meanwhile, Stevenson looked almost dead tired in there. He was about to go down the 12th. So Gvozdyk, Bivol, Beterbiev, maybe even what's his name, Michael, the American guy. Let me check out his name. I'm forgetting the names right now. It's late in the day here in the evening, but I mean Michael Douglas.
Are you talking about the kid
Marcus Brown
over here from New York?
Marcus Brown. Yeah, I mean this division is starting to look up.
Even the kid Callum Johnson. I mean, we don't know enough about him yet, especially over there. You don't. But this guy, he looks like he can fucking fight as well and can bang a bit. Do you know what I mean? So it's an interesting division, mate. I'd like to see
light heavyweight. It's a nice division right now.
Yeah. I think in terms of talent, they're the best. In terms of
talent, right up there. I mean, look at the heavyweights. You got Joshua Wilder, then.
Yeah, exactly.
Joshua Wilder and Povetkin.
Povetkin, but
and then after that, he might be too old. He might be too old at this point. objective.
Well, it's interesting. Another division that sort of fell down the toilet was welterweight, because you had some very good names in there, but now it's Keith Thurman. He's not fighting. Errol Spence. He's looking for a good opponent. Now it's going to be between Sean Porter.
I hear background noise, man.
Yeah, I hear a television and taping.
Recognize.
All right,
Yeah,
listen.
sorry about that.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But yeah, that's the thing. Welterweight, right? Welterweight used to be a good division. Now it's sort of losing a little bit of luster. But one of the fights that I'm looking forward to the most, which is going to be taking place in 2 weeks, is going to be Jeff Hearn versus Terence Crawford. Now, there's been a lot of talking back and forth. Terence Crawford is talking on the internet. Jeff Hearn is giving it right back to him, making fun. Reverse. I mean, recognize we can still hear you. The TV on the background, man. But anyway, listen. Jeff Hearn versus Crawford. Are you guys starting to get a little hyped up, or are you indifferent about it?
No, I am. That's the Australian DSG there, brother.
You think he's the Australian Daniel Garcia? Yeah, we want to see what Crawford does against a live contender at 147. And we're going to get that. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to how that fight goes. Jeff Hearn's going to bring it. One thing with Jeff Hearn, he's not going to curl up in a corner, or he's not going to just follow Crawford around the ring to get schooled for 12 rounds. He's going to have a go, isn't he? Let's be real. He's going to have a go.
He's going to bring it. He's going to fight. He's not going to lay down.
And that's what I want to see.
I think he's going to rehydrate himself really highly, like Canelo style.
I hope so. Yeah. I hope so, because Crawford's weight bullied a lot of people lately, so it'd be nice for someone to weight bully him for a change.
I cheer for him. No, that would be nice to see him get in there. But listen, talk about mental games, right? The reason why he gets those draws, Badu Jack, I mean, think about it. He was put to sleep in the first round by a guy who hasn't won since before 2010. You know what I mean? That guy Derek knocked him out in the first round. That plays on your head. So he's so super fucking conscious in the first half of the fight of waiting for the steam to come off the dude's punches before he opens up. And then when he opens up, I don't know, he just doesn't finish it. But that's why he's got that.
Yeah, I agree, bro. But his opponent, Adonis Stevenson, also got KO'd in a round, I think, or 2 rounds by Darnell Boone. Yeah, he went on to go and knock people out for a living. So, you know, you can't. I know what you're saying, but you can't use that as an excuse. You've got to go and take. You've got to go and win the fucking fight. You're in a different man's country. You know, I just don't understand.
I agree, 100%.
You know, you're in Canada.
I agree 100%.
You know, in Canada, the judges are not going to be on your side. The ref obviously wasn't on your side. You've got to go and win the fight by KO, preferably.
At the end of the day, it's Floyd's fault, right? At the end of the day, it's Floyd's fault. Remember?
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
Floyd Mayweather. I think he threw him under the bus a little bit there.
You think so?
You see Floyd, he was acting like a donkey. You can tell that trainer's got no balls in fucking Jack's corner, because I'll tell you right now, if that was my fighter, I would have turned and said, fuck off. Seriously. Come running over, slapping your hands, getting his attention. And the trainer steps back so fucking Jack can hear him. Oh, this Mayweather. You know what I mean? He's running over and fucking yelling instructions over the trainer. That trainer was
so distracting, man.
Yeah, exactly.
So distracting
I've been saying it for ages.
I'm just sorry to see Lou Duval like that, man.
Yeah, wow. I've been saying it for ages, bro. That guy, Mayweather's a circus act. He's not good he's toxic for fighters. Fighters need to get away from this guy. Let's be real. Just because this guy was a world-class fighter, don't mean he's good to be around.
Talking about a man who's driven by his insecurities, what would have possessed him to kick a door in and punch and kick a fucking woman in front of her screaming children?
Well, maybe there was a good reason.
She was showing attention to another man. He's the type of dude, he will fuck every one of his friends' best girlfriend. You know what I mean? And every time you hear about these beefs he has with people, these rappers, come to find out he's messing with their women. He's just that type. He cannot handle any attention being diverted from him. And he will get it on him one way or another. I'm telling you, my hand to God, I might be dead when it happens, but shit will not end well for fucking Floyd Mayweather.
How many press conferences of his fights has he hijacked? I mean, he totally hijacks Tank Davis press conferences. I don't even know what Tank Davis is about. I don't even know the kid, because you can't get to know him because Floyd's taken over, talking about Conor McGregor and everyone else. It's just a fucking circus act, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, man. Let me tell you something about this Mayweather. It's gonna be interesting to see who wants to sign up with him in the future, because so far he doesn't even have the juice to get his fighter, a close decision or anything like that. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on.
Yeah, that's true. I think I also I'll add to this. It's hard if I'm a fighter. Can you imagine like fucking let's say Manny Pacquiao becomes a promoter and like I'm under him. I gotta follow his footsteps. That could be a bit intimidating, man. You know, so
and I'll tell you,
like Floyd Mayweather. I mean, look, he's a legendary fighter. He's one of the
one of the best all-time defensive fighters. Absolutely,
so
can't take that away from him.
Being under his umbrella, his promotion, you know, comes with a lot of responsibilities, man.
And I'll tell you what Jack meant by that. Well, right, but what Jack meant by it could be Floyd. It wasn't. Because, listen, when he was in fucking Face of Boxing, he was running Vegas. Those judges, I mean, come on, it is what it is. We don't even have to get into that bullshit. But after a while, when you felt like you have to go a certain way, you do build up animosity and resentment. You know what I mean? So I think Jack's thinking like, yeah, all these guys had to kiss this dude's ass. You know what I mean? Is this their way of getting him back? Because that's the only thing I could think of why he would have said that.
It's interesting.
Don't be surprised to see Badu Jack on the Eddie Hearn list.
Yeah, man, maybe. That's the thing. It's one of the most interesting things to watch for. It's going to be Eddie Hearn, and who can he poach away from these other promoters, if he can at all. But it's going to be interesting. But I just wanted to get back to the Terence Crawford versus Jeff Hearn fight, because I'm telling you something right now. One of the fights that I think is going to be the hardest to make, but that I want to see the most, is Jeff Hearn. The winner of Jeff Hearn versus Terence Crawford, which I think is going to be Terence Crawford, taking on Errol Spence. That fight, you know, I'd rather. I think that one would be more competitive than Sean Porter versus Spence, because Spence is just gonna. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? Spence versus Sean Porter, is that does he stop Sean Porter, or is Sean Porter just too tough to take out?
Yeah, I mean,
that's a great fight.
That could be Sean Porter's first stoppage defeat. I mean,
I think he stops Porter.
Yeah, I do as well. I just think he's going to walk onto big shots. Let's be real. Sean Porter, he gets hit. Don't get me wrong. He's not a punching bag. He's quite intelligent when he's sort of rushing in. So I mean, and smothering your work and his at the same time. But he's a very hard man to fight, Sean Porter. But I just think Errol Spence too strong. He throws a lot of punches as well. Very accurate. I think, to be honest with you, when you're talking about that 147 division, I think Spence would be much better off actually going up to 154, to be honest with you. I think there's better fights there for him. The 144 division for me is dying. You've got Furman walking around like with daisies in his hair, looking like Harry Krishna, not interested in any fucking sort of fights. You've got Danny Garcia who fights bum after bum after bum. You've got Amir Khan who could get knocked out any second, so he's not really going to be a main threat. You got Manny Pacquiao's old. The division's fucked, mate. It's useless. If I was Errol Spence, I'd go up to 154 and fight some of these big boys, and we'd get some. Can you imagine Jared Hurd, Errol Spence? You know, Munguia, Errol Spence, fucking Kell Brook, Errol Spence too. There's fucking Andrade. Do you know what I mean? There's Lara. There's some good names there. That 147 division's useless.
Hey, listen, and I'm sorry, you go.
I'm just gonna say regarding Sean Porter, the main thing that I noticed, and it wasn't just lately, but even early on in his career, he often leaves himself out of balance with this fucking weird fighting style he has, that slugger type. I mean, I don't know, but for me, when I boxed in the ring, especially in my second fight, I didn't really control my balance, and that affected everything in me. So that's why I really don't think that.
Oh, did people fall off? Yeah, people fall off the hangout. We're gonna get what's his name, Pavel, and recognize the Matrix back. But yeah, so I want to finish hearing what Pavel was saying about fighting. We're gonna get this done. All right, everybody back? Oh, Pavel's not back. Oh, there he goes. All right, sorry, Pavel. Sorry about that. Keep going with what you were saying.
So I just wanted to basically say that I've noticed that Sean Porter, throughout his career, displayed his piss poor balance. And it is just from my experience, especially in my second fight, my amateur fight, I didn't really control it. And I noticed that everything else, every other quality that a boxer has, just goes downhill when you don't have that stable foundation. And I think it costed him the Keith Thurman fight. There were some times that it was blatantly obvious that he dragged his feet behind his upper body a lot, and it's just, I mean, especially against a tank like Errol Spence, who has a pretty good balance and overall boxing skills, but it's just I can't see Sean Porter winning the fight.
I think Spence would spin him. He would use his aggression and that bum rushing and spin him and just set him up.
Yeah,
that's what I think. But can I say something? I want to take a little back on Spence, man. I was blowing his horn big time the other day, but I can tell you, man, I lost a little respect when you know what, you want to say Charlo will walk through GGG. Fine, that's your stablemate. He's your boy. But this tweet out or whatever platform he used to say that Davis smokes or walks through Lomachenko, he knows it as well as everybody. That wouldn't happen. So if the reason why he said it sucks, it's just bullshit. And it just, I think I don't like that bullshit. Be honest.
So what's the reason?
I mean, come on. You know what I mean? Tribalism is exactly what it is.
You know what?
I read that in a tweet.
That's a shame.
I forget. But, you know, I mean, come on, it's exactly what it is. Why else would he say that? And there's nobody, including himself, thinks that Davis would, I mean, if he beat him and then to walk through him.
Right, yeah, he's just, I mean,
it's just because he sees them getting a lot of love. And you know, your words carry weight, dude. You're a welterweight champion. You know, you have everything to be the face of boxing. Don't do that. Be honest. Rate a man for his abilities. Don't play that fucking game.
You know what, Jimmy? Have you guys seen the interview of Errol Spence on? I think it was on Fight Hub, where the reporter asked him, "Why do you think Lomachenko gets so hyped up?" And he just looked at the camera and he laughed. I think we all know what he meant.
He gets hyped up because guys like Timmy Bradley say, "What the fuck? What am I looking at?" You know what I mean? I understand he's paid by Top Rank, but please, that kid's he's doing shit. I've been around the game longer than some of these jackasses making those stupid comments been alive. And I'll tell you, you don't see shit that he's doing to guys at that level. I mean, this is something special. This is something we'll all remember. And that's why he's getting the hype. So to say anything else is just disingenuous bullshit.
Well, you know, he's sticking up for his friend, you know, I mean, then again, there's a lot of infighting between Tank Davis, Broner, Charlo, you know, those guys are going at it.
That's what I'm saying. Davis doesn't even get along with his friend. So I could understand if, Davis is in his stable, like Charlo, but I heard that they didn't, I read like you, that they didn't even get along. So, wow, so you even just come on.
But I wanted to go.
What it is, but I thought he was above it.
Yeah, don't worry about you know that Instagram stuff. Who you know, anybody can say whatever they want. It's what counts is in the ring. You know what I mean? So these people, I think Lomachenko's proving what a great career he's been having so far, especially under 12. Before that, under 12 fights. So you know, actions speak louder than words. People should forget about the words. You know, it's too much of a waste of time. But going back to Sean Porter versus Errol Spence, I've been thinking about how Sean Porter actually has better defense than some people give him credit for. But he does have a lot of Ricky Hatton in him, because here's the thing about Sean Porter. He doesn't make for terribly exciting fights. When he fought Paulie Malignaggi, okay, that was an interesting fight. When he fought Keith Thurman, that was an interesting fight. But that was a styles matchup. Usually, whenever Sean Porter fights somebody, it's a lot of clinching, it's a lot of mauling, it's a lot of inside fighting, not a lot of clear action. He's gonna try to do that against Spence, but like Jimmy said, like I think Spence is just too smart and he's gonna spin him. And if Sean Porter tries to outmuscle him, I think he's gonna find out that this freaking Errol Spence, 170 something pounds, I don't think it's gonna be that easy. Now here's the thing: Sean Porter has good defense, good head movement, and good footwork. So would it be fair to say that he's better than Ricky? I mean, I'm not saying he has a better resume than Ricky Hatton, but does he have more ability than Ricky Hatton? Anybody?
For me, it'd be hard to. It comes down to heart. Ricky Hatton had that for days. too, and I don't know how much. I've never seen Porter take that kind of a beating yet, where he's completely going off. You know, just as he's been in fights, but I can't remember. Has he ever been really rocked and been like on edge to go? Yeah, no. One time he was kind of hurt.
Yeah,
I don't know. That is a good question.
Calbert in the first round, he got dropped against Broner. Never really seriously hurt. Very tough guy, Sean Porter. Very hard man to fight. Comparing him with Ricky Hatton, I think he's a stronger version of Ricky Hatton. A lot stronger in the hold. Ricky Hatton obviously does better work when he's in the pocket because that's where he does his best work. The body punches, technically better with his punches. But Ricky Hatton just lacked a bit of strength at 147 for me. I think 140 was probably his best weight. At 147, I mean, he got bullied around the ring by Collazo, I believe. Do you know what I mean? And I just Floyd played with him. Manny Pacquiao sparked him clean out. Just one for me. I think the only decent win I think he had at 147 was Malignaggi at 147 or 140.
It's a good question. I think it was a 140.
Oh, it's at 140. So he didn't. When he Malignaggi then. So I mean, 147 just wasn't his division. I think if you could put him in a fantasy matchup, I'd be picking Sean Porter in that.
Personally, I always was a little bit jaded when Ricky hadn't fought anybody basically because of his fight with Kostadze. I mean, I couldn't watch him that shit. It was just so dirty.
Yeah, that one, fuck, man. That's why, man, that Kostadze fight. There's an asterisk there in that win. Yeah. And he tried to do that. I mean, he that was his style, really. I mean, this motherfucker was gonna try that. But that's what I'm saying about Sean Porter, man. I think he does have a lot of ability. I think people underestimate him. But I don't know about Errol Spence. Now, when it comes to Danny Garcia, that's a 50-50 fight for me. I don't know about you guys. I know we were talking about that earlier, but I can see Garcia trying to that would be a good style of matchup because Garcia wants you to come forward and he wants to counterpunch, and Sean Porter just wants to barge in. So that there would be openings there for both guys.
I think it would be a good test for Garcia.
Yeah, I don't think Danny works enough to beat Porter, to be honest with you. I just don't think he's got the work. I don't think he's got the work.
I think Porter would be too much for Danny. I just think Danny belongs at 140. He's just fooling himself, thinking he could go up to the fucking money division.
Yeah, I mean, look how Lamont Peterson walked Danny back and started beating him up.
Yeah,
I mean, do you know what I mean? That's a frightening thought, really. Sean Porter's like a little pit bull, isn't he? He rushes in low with his fucking head, gets inside and just mauls you. And he's a very hard man to fight. Like I said, he snatches your heart. Technically, he's okay. He's not as bad as people say he is. He's got a decent jab, and when he gets inside, he does his work well. But I think Danny Garcia just don't throw enough punches, mate. And let's be real, Danny's not this big KO artist everyone likes to tell us he is. He, you know, when you look who he's knocked out, Rod Solka, Amir Khan. Come on, man.
Yeah, he's not a one-punch type knockout fighter against certain guys, but he does pack a harder wall-up than most people think. But I mean, let me tell you something. I'm saying that the Sean Porter fight would be a good fight for him, but the one that's really a terrible matchup would be the Errol Spence fight, because like you said, look at what Peterson was doing to him, backing him up in the last 2 rounds, and he had his face all busted up just in 1 round. Imagine what Errol Spence, who's a bigger southpaw version of Lamont Peterson, that would just be, now keep Garcia away from him. And I think Al Heyman knows that. Al Heyman seems to really like Danny Garcia, so I don't think he's gonna throw him in there against Errol Spence. I think they'd rather throw Broner in against Spence before throwing Garcia in there, but you never know. And then of course there's Keith Thurman, who, I mean, is he trying to run out his contract? We don't know, but he's another guy that, say what you want about him, I know some people say that he's overrated, but he would have made for some very interesting fights. I think he would have given Errol Spence his toughest fight. But that's the other thing, it's Terence Crawford. A lot of people seem to be underrating him. So we'll see, like you guys said, we'll have to see how he looks against Jeff Hearn. But by the way, should Jeff Hearn really try to barge his way inside the way he did against Pacquiao, or is that suicide against Terence Crawford? Because Terence Crawford is a pretty fucking good counterpuncher. And a power puncher at that. Anybody?
See him at 147 first. I mean, I don't know how well he will carry his power up to this weight. You know, even 7 pounds can make a difference. So I'm not so sure really. I'm sure that Hearn is going to attempt to bully him for sure, and I'm looking forward to that.
I think Jeff Horn's got to be a bit smarter. He can't just rush in head first against Crawford. A bit like the Josh Warrington game plan against Selby. Do you know what I mean? That sort of game plan. I think punches and bunches when he's in the pocket. I think Crawford's there to be knocked out. I really do. I think Crawford's a very good fighter, but I've seen weaknesses in his chin. And I think if you can catch him and hurt him, I think, you know, like I said, if you let him fight at his own pace, he's just going to stroll around the ring and pick you off. I think Jeff Horn's going to.
Horn has to hurt him early.
Yeah,
in my opinion, he has to hurt him early. He has to get his respect early. He has to make Crawford, you know, think before he tries to cross into that real estate. If he doesn't feel like he's going to hurt him, he's just going to, you know. But sorry, BDA, I was trying to respond to you, dude, but I fucking didn't hit the thing. I'm sitting there talking like a jackass, and I didn't unmute myself.
What's the matter with you? But yeah, that's the thing about.
I think Crawford out there.
Go ahead, Cameron.
I think, yeah. I mean, it's tough to evaluate. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think this fight's tough to assess because Crawford looked a big puncher at 140, but you look at the guys who was fighting at 140. You know, we're talking about Derry John, Hank Lundy, Thomas Delorme, former lightweights, guys who was bigger than. You know, even though Crawford moved up a division at 140 from lightweight, he was still bigger than the majority of the guys he was fighting, apart from Postal and Ndongo. Even Diaz was smaller. I mean, fair enough, Diaz was built like Porter and a bit, you know, stocky and everything, former welterweight, but Crawford's still a bigger guy. So for me, I mean, Crawford's looked a puncher because he's fought smaller guys. He's going against Jeff Horn, who's a huge welterweight. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how his punches is fair at that weight. If he does carry power and, you know, his punches are big enough that they can get a respect to welterweights, then he's going to be a problem. But if not, I mean, he's got the skill for me to beat people in that division and become a champion. But I think a lot of it on his run at welterweight is going to depend on how much power he has at the weight.
Excellent point.
That's the thing.
Great
because
point, Cameron.
That's the thing, because we don't listen. The guy, he might not be able to knock out people at 147, but I don't know, because they're saying that he weighs 170 something in real life, so he might just.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You go, BDA. Sorry about that.
No, I was done. I was just saying that he, you know, the precision that he has.
No, I was saying because this is his first time too fighting a welterweight. I don't care, sparring. This is his first time stepping in with and like Cameron said, a big welterweight. If I was Horn, I would remind him of that in the first minute of the fight. Fucking hit him in the arms, get into the clinch, and just let him know he's in with a big guy. And you know what I mean? And that's, I think, you know, start the mental game right off the rip.
Yeah, but that's the thing, because you guys are saying, well, like you, Jimmy, you said he has to jump on and hurt Crawford early. But that's what I'm saying is Crawford loves it when people jump on him. He's a pretty good counterpuncher. Would that be suicide for Jeff Horn, or does he have no choice?
Well, I mean, really, he's not going to box with them, right? And you figure this is, again, his first time. 140 to 147, especially to people who swear, it doesn't seem like much, but that's big in the ring. It really is. I learned that firsthand, man. Those fucking classes matter. Yeah. So this is a big guy he's fighting. So I would definitely put him to the test. What else? You know,
it's also
that's how he's made his bread and butter.
Yes, we've also got to look at how hard does Terence Crawford hit at 147. Does he hit harder than Manny Pacquiao, who couldn't stop Jeff Horn? I mean, that's a question that needs to be fucking answered, really, isn't it?
I would think he does. But
what's up, guys?
Manny's real small.
Oh, we got Boxy Style in the house. Boxy Style.
Cracks. That's right.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Man.
By the way, can I just say?
I was just going to say. I was going to say. I think this fight. I've said it for a while. When this fight got made, I think Jeff Horn is going to make Terence Crawford look pretty poor in aspects of this fight. I wouldn't be surprised.
You know what? Sorry, just to make a comment here. People were saying, well, why in the chat room? People used to say, why doesn't, you know, Lopez is always there? you're starting to see why Lopez people voted him off. He's in the chat room and it's all negativity. It's Crawford doesn't deserve to be a 147. Bivol sucks. This guy sucks. It's all negativity. It's not, hey, let's enjoy boxing. Let's stop boxing. No, it's negativity. And Jimmy starts talking about Mayweather for a couple of minutes. All of a sudden he goes nuts. I mean, come on, Lopez. You gotta stop it with the negativity. Enjoy life. Take it easy. This ain't a crusade. Eat some green beans with some of that Cajun seasoning, and you'll be fine. There's no need to be fucking, you know. Like, try to take it easy. Is all I'm saying. Like.
No, but
I just want to say,
he's so doom and gloom, isn't he? I bet there's just a constant fucking lightning and thunder above his house, isn't there? And fucking
yeah, he's
low place, man.
It's really.
What is he run? I don't read the chats. I can't see. What is he running his mouth, talking shit about me because I shit on Mayweather?
Yeah, he really hates it when you talk. Hold on. He really hates it. He really hates it when you talk about Mayweather, man. I mean, that's just insane.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. So, well, what? I can hear you. Yeah.
I can hear you.
I was saying something. I must have cut off. Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yeah. But I was just. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Crawford's in. I was going to be interested to see what his inactivity is like, how that affects him going into this fight, because it's the longest layoff he's had for, I think, since he's become champion, and he's moving up in weight. So I'd be interested to see how that year layoff affects him in this fight.
Has it been a year already?
Well, when it comes to the fight, I mean, he fought in August. It was the beginning of August. I mean, June won it, so almost a year. I mean, 10 months is his longest layoff, I think, since he's become champion. I might be wrong.
It's
That's
interesting.
A long wait. That's too long.
The guy's only 30.
I agree with Cameron about Jeff Hearn he's gonna get problems to Terence Crawford. Because he's awkward.
I don't think he's fought.
All right, what's going on here?
I don't think he's fought anyone with Hearn's style for a long time. I mean, a lot of the style matchups he's been in, it's not a Jeff Hearn, is it? It's Ndongo and fucking.
He hasn't. You know, Jeff Hearn doesn't hit hard, but Jeff Hearn's pretty awkward, very awkward. It took Pacquiao a while to figure him out.
If Terence Crawford doesn't get the respect, if Terence Crawford doesn't get Jeff Hearn's respect as a puncher, Jeff Hearn's going to keep coming forward. And I mean, fair enough, you know, Jeff Hearn's not the most creative offensive fighter out there, but if he can apply the pressure, make it rough and dirty in there. And he's a bigger guy and uses pressure, uses size. See how Crawford reacts to that.
Fuck the fuck out of him.
Crawford hits hard. The question is, can he take hits at 147? That's a whole different question. You could hit hard. Yeah, oh my bad. I wasn't a runner at the time.
No, I just said that. I've seen him hurt before. Are you?
Yeah. The question is, can he take the hits? He could hit hard. I know for sure he can for 147. Based on his performance on 140, but the question is, can he take the hits? Can he continue? And if he can't take the hits, how long can he take the hits? That's the difference.
Well, you look what happened at lightweight. I mean, you know, you got tagged by Gamboa, who was a former super featherweight. I know we always fall back to this, and it seems to be the only really thing we can kind of criticise Crawford for in terms of his chin. But Gamboa tagged him in that fight. Crawford felt that shot. So we're talking about a smaller guy. You know, Gamboa was outweighed big time in that fight. So. You know, Crawford's there. I mean, even at 147, he didn't get tagged. You know, I mean, we didn't see Crawford get hit at 140 by a legitimate puncher. And, you know, where we can kind of say, okay, you know, his chin held up. So for me, you know, 147, I think even the Jeff Hearn fight might not tell us where his chin's at because Jeff Hearn's not a humongous puncher, even though he's a big guy. But for me, Crawford's chin has still got a question mark around it, especially now he's moving up in a bigger weight.
But see, that's the thing about when people say, well, Crawford was bigger than Gamboa. But he did not muscle the guy. He just, you know, he loves it when people jump on him. And Gamboa was jumping in like a retard with his chin up in the air, hands down. I don't think people give Crawford the credit he deserves. I really don't. And I'm looking for a body shot, counter body shot when Jeff Hearn comes in, jumping in. And I'm looking for Crawford to hit him with that plexus shot that he hit Ndongo with. Again, it's all relative. It's all about what happens in the division. We have to see how Pacquiao does against Matisse, because if he destroys Matisse, then you have to give Jeff Hearn a lot of credit for what he was able to do against Pacquiao. And if Terence Crawford destroys Jeff Hearn, then you got to give Terence Crawford a lot of credit. I'm telling you, if it's true that the guy weighs 170 something pounds and Spence does as well, that's the fight to make at 147. Forget about Sean Porter and forget about Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman, by the way, who knows if he's gonna fight. He says he wants to fight this summer in June or July or something, but it's a big if.
Let me tell you something, BDA. Who's more talented, Kell Brook or Terence Crawford?
Who's more talented? What do you mean?
Skill-wise. Just talking about skill.
Do you know what, man?
Well, hold on. Let me ask you, Cameron. Not Cameron. Cameron. Let me answer the question, please.
Yeah, let him answer the question.
I think in terms of skills, I would say Terence Crawford.
No, I don't know, man.
I say Kell Brooks is more. I say Kell Brooks is way faster with his hands. Has a lot of more tricks to his game than Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is more of a he's more athletic than anything else, in my opinion.
I think they're both more skilled than each other. In different aspects.
Yeah, but I think if a fight between them happens, who you think will win? The same 147. If let's say Kell Brooks go down.
I mean, Kell Brook be weight drained. So you want to take that into account.
Yeah, but Terence Crawford, does he hit as hard as Spence?
Listen, the Kell Brook that fought Sean Porter against Terence Crawford. First of all, again, we don't even know how Terence Crawford's going to look at 147, but I would still venture to say that he's going to look. Let's say he does look bad against Jeff Horn. That's still, it might be due to Jeff Horn's style, but I'm saying Terence Crawford, Kell Brook from the Sean Porter fight. I would pick Terence Crawford over Brook. And that's the thing.
The thing is, like, it's tough because Terence Crawford's not had his chin tested by a big guy, and Kell Brook was a big welterweight who could punch, and he was accurate with his punches, and he was precise. So, you know, until Crawford for me shows that he can take a punch at 147, I can't really answer the question personally.
Well,
I think Kell Brook would destroy Terence Crawford at 147.
I think so too.
But based on what? Time, if you say that, then you would say that Errol Spence will definitely destroy Terence Crawford.
Well, hold on. Based on how do you think?
If that's the case, if you look at it that way.
Let me ask you: how do you see Kell Brook destroying Terence Crawford? Like, how does he do it?
How's he do it? He's just more intelligent. My bad. It's more ringing here. He's more intelligent. He's just more intelligent of a fighter. He has more IQ. Better distance control. He doesn't have some tricks that
I'll tell you how he does it. Nothing to do with intelligence. Punching power and accuracy. Simple as. That's how.
I didn't want to say that. That's all.
Well, he would have to line him up for that right hand, because Terence Crawford's probably going to switch it on him the way he does to everybody. He switches southpaw. But Terence Crawford, let me tell you something. Here's why I think he's better than Kell Brook. He's got better precision with his shots with both hands. Kell Brook, let's face it, we've talked about this before. He's a one-handed fighter. He's always looking to line you up with that right hand. He's got a bit of a sneaky left uppercut, but that's really it. I mean, the jab, it's a good weapon, but it's not a power punch. I'm talking like a power punch, right hand. That's all he has. Terence Crawford, on the other hand, he can whack you with that right hook, which is like a whip. He has the left hand when he turns southpaw. I mean, I think he controls the distance better than Kell Brook. I'm not saying it wouldn't be close. At 147, it would be extremely close, but I think Crawford edges it. And if he grows into his weight, that's what we want to see him against Jeff Horn, to see how he would do against Errol Spence. Because right now, Errol Spence, I think we can all agree, he's the king of the division right now.
Only because he beat Brooks. Because I thought Brooks was going to win. Even when he came off a loss, I was going for Brooks, and he was beating him until something mentally broke down inside him.
Boxing style. I love how you call Kell Brooks.
Yeah, that's. I know these are two boxing style. Kell Brooks. Come on, what's going on? But yeah, people in the chat room are saying Terence Crawford is overrated. That's what we're gonna find out against Jeff Horn. And again, it all depends on how Pacquiao looks against Matisse. But I'm expecting good things I'm expecting an interesting fight from Crawford versus Jeff Horn. And that's interesting because, again, Spence is very good. But when I see him against either Keith Thurman, Crawford, or Sean Porter.
The fight to be made at 147, the biggest fight, the most difficult and most interesting is going to be Porter versus Spence. That's it. If Brook is not around, those are the two top guys for now. Let's see how good Terence Crawford does. If Terence Crawford does like finish us off Jeff Horn, then we have something. Then Terence Crawford is is a big name at 147. But if he goes to the distance with Jeff Horn, I just don't see that fight being big between him and Spence.
I don't think there's a problem. I don't think there's a problem with Brook. I don't think there's a problem. If Crawford goes to distance with Horn but beats him decisively, I think that's a good win, a very good win. But for me, I don't really like talking about Crawford at 147 with the likes of Spence or Thurman or someone like that, because there's just so many unanswered questions about Crawford. Even though he's pound for pound, one of the top fighters in the sport, there's so many unanswered questions about him, especially now he's moving up in weight. That's just how I see it.
Well, one question was answered. The reason why he's fighting Horn in the first place is because of that divide. I don't even know if the PBC is going to even make that with Bob. You know what I mean? With the ESPN Showtime gig. It's fucked up.
Yeah, that's a shame. That's a shame right there that we might not even get to see that fight because of the PBC, they want to keep everything in-house. Again, they made there was an exception made with Russell Jr. versus Diaz Jr., which I hope happens more often, these cross-promotional events going on. But when it comes to a Crawford versus Spence, it would have to make Crawford would have to look very spectacular, and Spence as well would have to look spectacular in order to let both camps know, hey, listen, this is the best fight to make at 147. There's money involved. Let's make it happen. That's the only way. If it makes money, then they would work together. If it doesn't, and they have other options, unfortunately, we might not see this fight happening anytime soon.
Well, the PBC, they haven't put forth any of their real stars. I mean, they did Jacobs because the rumor was he was making threats already going into the first Golovkin fight that I want that fight. But by and large, I mean, look, he's never sent one of his, like Stu hit on, it was when the PBC first started, it was the glamour division. He's never sent any of those guys outside the PBC. So he would probably expect Crawford to come over, and there's no way in hell Bob would let him go over to Showtime.
Yeah, I don't think, that's like you said, I agree with you. I don't think it's, depends. Even Bob Arum can be a pretty stubborn motherfucker in his own right.
You know what, right?
It depends.
The 147 division is one of the divisions that interests me the least. I think there's some great divisions out there. If you're a true boxing fan, you're looking at these divisions. The 147 division is trash. Let's be real. It is. They're not fighting each other. They're all divas. Just mismatches constantly. You got guys ducking other people. You got the fucking network arguments. Oh, well, I'm on Showtime. I'm on HBO. I can't do that. Every other division, we're starting to see the best fight the best. Yet 147 is still stuck in the fucking dark ages. I hate that division. Well, don't even like talking about it.
What fucking Heyman did, it was simple, man. He held on to these guys like that idiot who holds on to gold too long. Oh, the price is going to keep going up. We're going to, put them all together after the networks buy all our shows. And it just never happened. And he waited too long, and now they're devalued. 3 years ago, those welterweight fights was what everybody was talking about. Now Keith Thurman, what the fuck is he doing?
Yeah, I agree with that. And the thing is, you look at it, I think Sean Porter, Danny Garcia is an excellent fight, but when the news came out that fight was getting ordered, I didn't get an exciting feeling about the fight. Like that 147 division has been so stale for so long for me. Like we had Spence Brook, excellent fight, the right fight to make. But outside of that, we've had Garcia against likes of Malik Nagy and things. I mean, for so many years now, it's just been dross, really. So even when a good fight comes by, it's just hard to get up for it.
Yeah, even Sean Porter fighting Broner at 144. I mean, what the fuck's that all about? Do you know what I mean?
And you look at Garcia against Broner, man. Sorry, bro. I was just going to say, I like Garcia versus Broner.
Broner's been one of the vocal guys, not Broner, but Porter's been one of the vocal guys about Al Heyman. But that's what, so you can't have a guy, listen, Heyman, most guys get 10%, right? Heyman gets it whacked coming in and going. So he was getting sliced up before they even made the, whatever the gross they were getting paid off. So I didn't take any of the fighters' money. Who gives a shit? You were getting cut off this, big slices off the top. But at this point, why the fuck is he still even in there? Why? Because right now, if he wasn't in the picture, because make no mistakes about it, the Buff and them don't want to deal with Heyman. HBO hates Heyman to the point where when Danny had his press conference, when they announced that he signed with Hearn and HBO, he was told that he was not allowed to thank Al Heyman. Don't even mention his name. So that's how much disdain they have for Heyman at HBO. Arum can't stand him. So right now, if he's working solely off Showtime's budget, which what he is, because he's not, there's no more time buys; those are done. He's working solely off Espinosa. Why does Espinosa need him? Especially if it's really Heyman holding up the fights. If he was out of the picture, Espinosa will work with these dudes.
Yeah,
I hope so, man. I hope so. It's. Listen, we need more cross. The best one was when 2008, 2009, Golden Boy and Bob Arum, they started making some good fights. Margarito Mosley was one of them. Yeah, they started making some good fights, and then all of a sudden, whoops, they went back into the Cold War era that we have now. So hopefully Eddie Hearn picks up some good fighters and he can make some fights with Golden Boy or Bob Arum or anything like that. Because I mean, really, and that's the other thing, you know. We were talking about negativity here, but it's true. I mean, boxing is starting to shape up pretty well. We look at the fights we just had these past few, what was it? The few weeks, man. Now this, I don't know if we should talk about this now or later, but Inoue versus, what's his name? Inoue versus Mcdonnell, that's going to be coming up this Friday. There is a time difference. I'm on the East Coast, so there's a 13-hour difference between here and Japan. So that fight's probably going to be on Saturday morning. Probably we're going to have to catch it here, or maybe.
I mean, it'll be on in the it'll be morning. It'll be on in the morning, midday time in the UK. So what? It may be like 5-6 a.m. in the US, I guess.
I'd be willing to. I would be willing to wake up early for that one.
Then? What other fights are on that day?
There's another fight in Japan. Man. Well, yeah, there's another. Isn't there another fight in Japan? I mean, not in Japan. On ESPN on Saturday. It's Jerwin. What's his name? The Filipino guy. Let me check it out.
Oh yeah, Jerwin Ancajas. Yeah.
Yes, him.
Oh yeah, Jerwin Ancajas. Yeah, he's fighting to defend his IBF title. Yeah,
against another Filipino.
Whatever happened to the cruiserweight division?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. What did they reschedule Garcia versus Usyk or what's going on there?
No, nothing on it yet.
Fuck, man, that's a fucking.
I think Eubank is not going to be taking that super middleweight shot either. I'm hearing he's pulling out.
No,
so
Callum Smith says he'd rather wait for Groves. So
is that what it is?
I mean, Callum Smith's not dumb. He knows that he won't get any credibility being Eubank. He knows he has to beat Groves to be the legit winner of that.
It's spot on. That's exactly what he should be thinking. Let's be real. For the sake of a couple of months, give the tournament some credibility. Do you know what I mean? So if Eubank had stepped in, the tournament would have been worthless to me. No credibility involved, and it'd have been a shame really because we saw some decent fights. But yeah, I agree with Callum Smith. Hold on for a few months and let's see the best guys fight.
Can I also say one thing, BDA? Sorry, Jimmy, go on, bro.
No, you go, brother.
Sorry, I was just going to say, on the Inoue McDonnell fight, I'm actually bizarrely more excited for this fight than I was Stevenson Jack or Narius Lomachenko. I don't know why, but I really like this fight.
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird. I mean, this fight, I don't think it's going to be as I don't think it's as evenly matched on paper as Baidu Jack or Russell Diaz Jr. But by the way,
what fight was that, Cameron?
He's talking about the Stevenson Jack fight. But listen, we're going to get our predictions.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about that later on, more in depth. But you know what? Let's get some predictions down right fucking now. All right, for Inoue McDonnell. Let's start out with Stu. Or actually, Bucho in order, because I always forget Bucho. Bucho, your prediction for McDonnell versus Inoue, if you will.
I don't know how much power Inoue has in that weight division, but I still think he has enough to stop McDonnell. So maybe 9th, 10th round stoppage. For
9th or 10th round. All right. Let's go with Stu. Stu, are you there?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Prediction time.
I'm thinking, it's a tough one. I'm going for a Inoue for the win, but I'm trying to think what. I just don't know if Jamie McDonald is going to hang around for 12 rounds to take it to the cards. I just don't see that. I'm going to go with a 7th round stoppage Inoue.
Oh, okay. All right, who do we have next on the list here? I'm looking. All right, Pavel, how about you? Prediction time.
Well, I think Jamie McDonald is one of those guys that are tall and skinny in the midsection, and Inoue likes fighting those guys. So I'm gonna go with Naoya Inoue by TKO in the 9th round.
All right. What do we have next here? Is it Cameron? Yeah, Cameron, go ahead, please. What was that? Yeah, Cameron, are you there?
Yeah, man. Sorry. Yeah, I've gone back and forth on this fight. I wrote on Twitter earlier on saying that if Inoue stops Mcdonnell, it'll be a big statement. Simply because Mcdonnell's he's a very good fighter, and I know people kind of think Inoue's going to go in there and do a job on him. I can see why, but I think Mcdonnell's a legit fighter. I think Inoue's body shots are going to take their toll on Mcdonnell. To be honest, I think Inoue will be throwing them quite early on, so I think Inoue will probably get Mcdonnell out of there around 10th round.
10th round, all right. Boxing style.
I don't know neither of the guys, so I can't say anything about this.
All right, I forgot the fucking lower weights. You don't like him.
Actually, I know Inoue because I've seen bits and pieces of his work. But the other guy I have no idea about. But if I had to roll the dice and say who's gonna win this,
no, come on, that's not how it works, man. Come on.
It's not gonna work. That
To
way,
me,
so.
if you look at Inoue's sparring videos, like you watch Inoue sparring featherweights, those body shots are lethal even against featherweights. I mean, for me, Mcdonnell's frame, and he's talked about he struggled to make bantamweight before. He spoke about maybe not to super bantamweight, so he's obviously tighter weight. And if he's tighter weight, and Inoue's and you look at his frame, he's a skinny, tall guy. And if he's tighter weight, Inoue's body shots are lethal. I can't see how Mcdonnell is going to get through this fight. And, for me, Mcdonnell won't have the power to actually keep Inoue off him and be able to get him in range to get them shots off. So, Inoue, for me, will land those body shots early, and I don't think Mcdonnell will be able to handle it later on.
Well, let's get Jimmy's prediction. Jimmy, your prediction, if you will.
Yes, Inoue stoppage. I agree. I echo Cameron's point almost 100%. I think Inoue is going to be fresher. From everything I read and heard, Inoue was struggling to get to the other weight. So I think he's going to be fresher and, like you said, tall, thin, and he's going to struggle to get to that weight. So, and they're fighting in Japan. He's going to be all lamped up. So what's the lowest bid so far? What's the lowest round? I think someone said 7th.
Yeah, well,
I said the 7th.
All right, fuck it, I'll go 6th. Not that I really like, you know what I mean? Fuck it, I'll pick a different round. But I think
I wouldn't be surprised, man.
6th.
I wouldn't be surprised if it goes like that early, to be honest.
I would. I think, well, maybe, I don't know, it depends, right? A lot of people make it seem as if Inoue is the Errol Spence of the bantamweight division now, but like Bucho said, he doesn't know how Inoue is going to look at 118. I think he might look better now because of the weight, so we'll have to see.
He's fought smaller guys. Like Inoue's built a career of being smaller guys.
Right.
Don't be surprised if Jamie McDonnell actually outboxes Inoue for a small part of that fight until Inoue gets hold of him. Trust me, he's a good boxer, Jamie McDonnell. He throws a lot of punches from unorthodox angles as well, and he's quite busy. And he's a very smart fighter, but he's just not like. I agree with what Cameron said. I think the body shots will start wearing him down, telling its toll on that skinny frame of his, and I think he's just going to walk into one of them shots, and I think that's all she wrote.
Yeah, those body shots, man, that's going to be a key for that fight right now. Also, like you said, Jerwin, what's his name? How did you guys spell his name? I don't even know how to spell his name. Jerwin Ancajas?
Jerwin Ancajas.
Ancajas. Yeah, well, it's now you fucking every time, Cameron, every time you say certain names in Spanish, you say them with the English spelling, and now all of a sudden this Filipino one, you get it perfectly right. What's the matter with you?
It's Ancajas, right?
Ancajas, yeah, because it's a J.
Ancajas, yeah.
The J is like but yeah, so at least we got a little bit of boxing there. Then on June the 2nd, I think that's a Saturday, there's not really that much. There's a fight on Bean Sports in Spanish, but I don't really, it's like a low-key card. And then finally, June the 9th on ESPN Plus, Jeff Hearn versus Terence Crawford. Ooh, that's going to be a good one. And also on Showtime that same night, Leo Santa Cruz takes on Abner Maris, a rematch. And Jermel Charlo takes on Austin Trout. Those fights are good fights. Not terribly interested in the rematch between Maris and Santa Cruz, but at least it's two top 10 guys fighting each other. And also don't forget, on that night, or that same day rather, Tyson Fury makes his return against Sefer Seferi. What type of fucking name is that? Apparently it's a cruiserweight. Is that what they're saying? He's fighting a cruiserweight.
Yeah, not even a top 20 cruiserweight. I think he's ranked 60th in the cruiserweight rankings.
Embarrassing.
Albanian.
Absolutely embarrassing. He must be ashamed of himself.
Are you serious?
It's a comeback fight. I don't understand.
Can I say, right? On this Santa Cruz Mara, can I just say something? On this Santa Cruz Mara's rematch, the most important rematch for a number of years.
Yeah.
Al Heyman, please make Santa Cruz Russell unification after this fight.
It's
a logical fight to make.
I agree, man. That's the logical fight to make.
I think I'd rather watch Brock Back Mountain than watch fucking Abnormaras v Leo Santa Cruz, man.
Yeah, but anyway, we'll talk about that in the next episode because we're running out of time. But I also forgot to say that same night on the undercard of Tyson Fury, we actually have a bit of a hidden gem here. Terry Flanagan is going to be taking on the undefeated Maurice Hooker. I don't know if you guys remember, Maurice Hooker is the really only high-profile fight I remember of Hooker was when he should have lost. I think he should have lost against, what's his name, Mike Perez? Was that his name? Darlis Perez.
No, Mike Perez is a cruiser. Yeah, Darlis Perez.
Yeah. Flanagan ain't fighting him, is he?
Well, that's the thing.
Man, Terry Flanagan, man. Terry Flanagan. He's got the longest undefeated run in UK, and I think he's got like 37 fights, and he's still not beat a former world champion. And he's been a champion for what, 3 years now?
Mm-hmm.
He's still not beat a world champion. The guy's run.
He looked. Yeah, he did. He looked very good against Mcdonnell, and then
he did. Yeah,
then just went downhill. I mean, did you see his performance against Derry Matthews? It was a fucking absolutely shocking.
Went the distance with him, didn't he? And you look at what Campbell and O'Hara Davis done to him.
Look what O'Hara Davis did to Derry Matthews. I mean, Flanagan just don't punch hard enough. Very, very good fighter. Don't get me wrong. Southpaw as well. I think that's what gets him a lot of wins. A lot of these fighters he's fighting don't know how to deal with southpaws, but he just doesn't have enough pop on his shots. And now he's going up to 140. There's some big guys in that division. I think he's going to struggle.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting because
he spoke before he moved up to 140. He spoke about fighting the Naras and Mikey Garcia and all that, and then all of a sudden you see him vacating the belt and move up. Frank Warren's got him.
He won Lomachenko, he reckons.
Yeah, exactly. And then he moves up. It's typical Frank Warren WBO title run, Terry Flanagan.
You know what? It's not that bad a record. It's not that bad a record for Terry Flanagan. He has fought some decent names. Again, when you mention which former title is, come on, you know titles don't mean all that much. Anybody can get a title. I don't put too much stock into that.
Yeah, but come on, man. Like, his best win. I mean, what's his best win? Magdaleno. I mean, he beat that Petty Petrov. But come on,
you know why?
I mean, he's not fought anyone elite.
You know why you're angry?
Only Frank Warren could get away with, right? With his fight, winning a belt, winning a world title, and then defending it against Derry Matthews. I mean, let that sink.
You know why you guys hate
as a headliner.
Derry Matthews is a journeyman at British level, and yet he's getting a world title shot against Flanagan, and he's going the distance.
The reason why you don't like Flanagan.
No, I do like Flanagan.
No, you don't. You don't, and I'll tell you why. You don't like the guy. You don't like the guy. You don't like the guy because he beat your favorite fighter, Orlando Cruz. Let's be honest about it. That's what happened, right?
Well, there you go. That's the thing, man. He made a title defense against Orlando Cruz. Thanks for reminding us, man. That's kind of solidified how important it's been.
I mean, Derry Matthews, Orlando Cruz, Frank Warren. I'll tell you what. I don't know how Frank Warren gets away with it, man. No wonder he's been shot in the head. This guy.
Oh man, poor fucking Frank Warren.
But Terry Flanagan has literally got the worst. I don't like disregarding fighters, but his run has been really bad, really bad. I mean, Maurice Hooker will probably be his best win, and who's Maurice Hooker beat?
Oh, he should have lost against Perez. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should he have lost against Perez?
Yeah, I thought Perez won that fight.
See, who's Terry Flanagan?
Flanagan should have fought. Hey, Flanagan should have fought Crawler, shouldn't he? He should have fought Crawler, man. That's to be sure.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, Jimmy, that's just all Jimmy. I mean, you got Terry Flanagan, a guy who's 37-0, WBO champion over here, about to go for his second world title in his second weight, and you don't even know who the guy is. That's because he's been fighting trash for 4 years.
He has.
Frank Warren. I mean, obviously I've heard of him, but it's over here. I mean, seriously, nobody would take him serious. No, you're 100% right.
The guy reminds me of Saunders, man.
Well, by the way,
Frank Warren don't learn, though, bro. You just don't learn. This is why Sky got rid of him, because he was like letting these fighters get these ridiculous records without fighting anyone. Like, as I keep saying, Ricky Hatton went about 38-0 before he fought any fucking body. These fight, and he just hasn't learned. I mean, he's got a new contract with BT Sports. He's putting on the same old recycled shit. I mean, well, he is, isn't he? Come on.
Yeah, he is, mate. Billy Joe Saunders, Martin Murray, really?
Yeah.
Hey, what do you guys think about Hearn's with the new gig? But that's supposed to be $25 a month.
Yeah, that's the thing, man.
For the US, man, fucking people are bitching about $4.99 for the ESPN app. I think he's stretching. If he thinks Americans are going to go to $25 a month,
yeah, but you'll get all the British
I'd be
fights as
surprised.
well. You get all the British fights as well. You'll get other programs and stuff. That's 12. That's about what is it? 15 quid. 15 quid a month. I bet I spend more than that on pay-per-views from Eddie.
But which British fights do you want to see, though? I mean,
sorry,
which British fights?
It's basically a US version of Box Nation,
all
basically.
the pay-per-view fights in the UK. You'll see on.
Yeah, some of them are good, but it's not like all of them are.
No, but it's
we are
fights,
craving, you know.
Yeah, but it's fights, bro.
It's basically
Say if he starts, listen, you'll be devastated if you don't buy it, and then he starts signing all these big names, and you've got to watch. The only chance you can get to watch these fights is buy one of these sticks. Anyway.
Yeah, well, that's what we are hoping for, right? That he's gonna sign a lot of American. Yeah, but
Let's
that's
be real,
not done yet.
I'm obviously I'm going to buy it. I'm going to pay it, but you know what I mean. Obviously, because I'm a boxing junkie. But I just think that it might scare at that price. Might scare some casuals. But again, that's just my opinion. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
The only reason I'll buy it, the only reason why I'll buy it is to watch some darts.
No, listen, mate. It's, over here in the UK, you've got Box Nation. It's basically a US version of Box Nation.
Yeah, well, I pay for Box Nation, and I tell you what, I pay what? It's £12 a month, which is about $23 a month or something like that. And basically, you'll get a live fight like Lomachenko was on there, but most of the week it's Liam Smith v Liam Williams or
not Liam Roy, where the Smith brothers. I don't know. Yeah,
Frank Buglione's greatest hits. Do you know what I mean? It's fucking dreadful.
Watch some cricket, man.
Frank Buglione's greatest hits, man.
Yeah, back in it, fucking. I've seen Ricky Hatton Costa Zoo about 40 times on that.
Forget all that. I'm gonna watch some cricket.
Ugh,
listen, man, you must have a sad life, man. You need to get out more. I'll tell you that.
I like cricket. I do. I watch cricket for hours.
You know what? Boxing style. He gets up. He pours himself a bowl of cereal and he watches some cricket all morning long. That's all he does. Right?
A bunch of Indians were playing cricket. They took the whole fucking field, man, for that thing. Like, come on.
Gets up, makes his cereal, and eats cricket. That sounds like a real fucking pervert. Not gonna lie.
Well, listen. To each his own, right? Everybody's got a. Some people eat cereal. Some people eat crickets. I don't know. Yeah, to each his own. But it's true. This whole thing about the zone. I mean, if you end up buying the HBO package with Showtime, you know, the movie package on cable, and then you get the zone, and then you get a couple of other apps. The money can start adding up. So we'll see what type of fights they end up putting on. If it's worth it, I'm pretty sure.
It also adds up if you're paying fucking $80 to $100 for a pay-per-view fight every month.
Yeah, that's it. You gotta pick up the.
I mean, wasn't this Stevens and Jack pay-per-view like $70 in Canada?
70, I think.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think Butcher said 70
HD. There you go then.
See, that's one of the things.
Jesus
I mean, listen.
Christ, that was a pay-per-view in Canada?
Yeah.
Hope the bill comes with Vaseline.
Pascal Boutte, a pay-per-view in Canada.
Do the bills come with Vaseline?
They should, man, because otherwise I'm doing it wrong. Listen, the point is this. We got some interesting fights coming up. This Saturday, the Inoue... Well, Saturday, Friday morning. I don't know what it is, but we'll keep an eye on that fight. We'll keep you updated. We have to go, unfortunately. I want to thank everybody that was in the chat, and of course everybody that was in the hangout as well. Reverse Lee. Jeez, I always get them confused. Recognize who had to leave. I want to thank Stu, Pavel, Cameron, Boxing Style, 3-Piece. By the way, somebody was telling us that we shouldn't call you Jimmy, we should call you James. Do you have a preference for that, or?
Well, Jimmy's good. J-I-M-I. My mother was a fucking hippie weirdo. Named me after Hendrix.
Right.
J-I-M-I. But hey, listen, I just wanted to thank you. I actually kicked me in the nuts for that one. But I just want to thank you, BDA, you and King Bucho, for putting this together all the time, taking your time out of your day and doing this for us, give us in this platform. I really appreciate that, dude. And I just wanted to question one thing. Did you say Low Place said Bivol sucks? You actually use those terms? He sucks.
Nah, I'm exaggerating.
I think he said he's not. I think he just says he's unproven to him. I think
exactly. Overrated.
He's an idiot.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Well, listen,
Thank you.
just
Mr.
as a
Chairman,
final.
you have a great night again. Thank you.
All right. Oh,
Take
yeah,
care,
by the way, I
man.
want to thank everybody. I want to
All right,
thank
brother.
everybody also for coming. You guys make this show what it is. Really, it's this fucking hangout.
See ya,
is fun.
Jimmy.
So yeah, I want to
Take
thank
care,
you guys.
gentlemen. You all be safe.
Take it easy, man. See
You
you on
too,
Sunday.
man. Yeah, I want to thank you guys. Make this show what it is. You guys make it entertaining. You make it into a great show. So I want to thank you for that. And yeah, I'm just gonna. Yeah, somebody in the chat. I think it was boxing knockouts, or I forget again. He was saying that Errol Spence is unproven. So you had two people. Somebody was saying, Lopez was saying Bivol was unproven, and boxing knockouts or whatever. He was saying that Spence was unproven.
He was saying that Spence beat an injured Brook when saying that Brook's face was already fractured when Errol Spence actually broke the other eye socket. So I'm not sure you can use that excuse. Spence caused the injury. Spence won the fight because Brook couldn't handle the punishment that Spence put on him. It's that simple. How you can say Spence is improving, I don't know.
Well, listen, everybody, you're never gonna convince everybody. You can have the best resume out there. You can't convince everybody.
Not.
So, I mean, just watch the fights, enjoy them, and that's it. Bucho saying, don't forget the World Cup prediction show soon. By the way, Bucho, am I gonna be on the show, or because you just wrote Bucho, you're assuming that I don't want to be on the show?
You can be on the show.
See, I'm getting upset.
What's going on
here.
with the World Cup?
We're doing a World Cup show.
Oh, really?
I mean, I don't really watch. I'm not a football fan, but I'll tune in anyway.
No, you're a
serious,
cricket
man?
fan.
You're
That's why.
from England, and you're not a football fan?
Yeah, well, what's going on?
Nah, man. Listen, I only like the fight. The only sports I follow are fighting sports. I don't follow any other sport.
No basketball, nothing.
Nah, man. Just top fighting sports, man. I don't like seeing people kicking the ball around and maybe breaking their toe out and crying on the floor and need to get stretchered off. You know what I'm saying? Like a real man sport, boxing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, but listen, the World Cup only comes along every 4 years, so you can't really miss that one. But what people boxing comments in the chat says Mexico wins it. I don't think they're gonna win it. To win
In
it,
their dreams.
yeah, you need a lot of luck and talent to win it. I don't think Mexico has. I don't think Mexico either has the talent or the luck right now.
I think Belgium are probably the big underdogs, to be honest.
France is the one that's probably gonna be dangerous.
I don't watch football, but somebody told me to put money on Belgium, so I'm doing it.
Don't. But either France, Germany, or Argentina. One of those three.
Oh, we'll save this for the actual show.
Yeah, we'll see in the actual show when we actually get it done. But anyway, I want to recognize the Matrix who was here. I want to thank Pavel. I want to thank Cameron. I want to thank Boxing Style. I want to thank who else did I miss? I miss anybody? Stu, of course. Yes, can't forget Stu. King Bucho, on the part of King Bucho myself, I want to thank you guys. Now I'm going to thank everybody in the chat room. Don't forget, guys, to like, subscribe this video. Don't forget to check out our Patreon page. Don't forget to donate on the super chat. Small tips, small donations always helps. We're getting closer to that what's it called, that call-in show. So thanks a lot, guys. And now to give a shout out to everybody in the chat room. See you guys. Thanks for being on. Want to give a shout out to Boxing KO Comments Club, We Degree, Balsagot, Brandon White, Low Place, even though it was a bit of a negative Nancy Lopez, I gotta tell you. But listen, I'm starting to get used to it. It's been a while since Low Place hadn't shown on the chat. But anyway, Aaron Kuko, Overhand, Pop Tart Gone. Who else we got? The Fight Scout, Swanky Tuna, The Punisher, Akuma's Deception, Canelo was in there as well. Comentarios Deportivos, Sajid Malik, Overhand, Chris Gonzalez. You guys know who you are. You make this show quite entertaining. The Sherpa of the Sons. So thanks a lot, everybody, for being here. We'll see you on the next one. Take care, folks.